All right. Oops, where did my window go? Where did my window go?
Did you read that down there? It says we all have issues, don't we? It's
We do.
Yeah. That's actually like, that's legit the origin of the name in the first place. Yeah.
All right, so StreamYards is there. This is, I still, all right, this way. There we go. Now we're in business.
Yay!
All right. Hello and welcome to WyzGyz Entertainment. This is your host, Wyman. We are joined today by our very special guests. Excuse me. We've got Marshall, the writer of this book, Issues, Volume 1. And we also are accompanied by Snoots, the artiste. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing good. You?
Doing well.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
We were talking briefly about behind the scenes about the cost of living in California, and it turns out that the two of you are actually roommates.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's very clever. That's very smart to do. Is in Cali. I'm a native of California.
I'm sorry.
And I'm originally from Northern California, San Francisco
where at?
Bay Area.
Oh, the Bay Area?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can relate. It is a pricey place.
It is.
Yeah.
Man, it's hell, dude. It is fucking brutal. Yeah.
So it turns out you two are roommates. You're literally in the same room. And you wouldn't know it by the backgrounds because it looks like you're in two different places, which is really trippy. So that's cool.
The consistent item is that fan right there. It's,
the fan and the corner of the bookcase.
Oh, yeah.
So that helps you visualize.
You connect.
Yeah, it's funny too because mine is like, my screen's like way brighter, but really like I'm wallowing in the shadows right here, man. It's just picking up the bright behind me. But she's sitting in front of a big ass window, but it makes it look darker on her side because it's like washing out,
Yeah.
Oh.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, because her fan looks like metallic or black, and your fan looks white. So it almost blends into is it yellow background of the wall?
No, it's a white wall.
It's
just
white,
washed out.
It's a white wall. Okay.
No, it's all fucked up.
Natural light and whatnot.
It's a sunset on that side, so
Oh, yeah.
just washing that room in sun.
Ah, okay. All right. Let me see. And let me also do. Excuse me. All right. Let's see if anyone has had a chance to spread the word. Right on. Dino God.
Yeah, that's
Jags.
That's our boy.
Hi,
Yeah,
Jags.
Jags.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. So we've got a book called Issues. Let me first ask, how did you guys even begin? How did you guys even come up with the idea or come to this point at which you decided you wanted to put together a book?
Good.
Well, I would say first I was thinking of a webcomic where it just kind of like a one-off, like a superhero calls in to like a therapist hotline kind of thing. And it was just based on the idea of like, not necessarily who watches The Watchmen, but like, where do superheroes legitimately go to vent? Because nobody's supposed to know their secret identity. So I pictured like a hotline where heroes could call in and just vent. And then I started thinking the logistics of it. and I couldn't think of any substantial circumstance, but that could actually work. So I ran it by my friend Mike, and I was just like, "Hey, how do I make this better?" And he's like, "Well, you don't. That's an awful idea.
Yeah, you don't. That's
So
trash.
give me a bit. Let me sit on it, and I'll get back to you."
Yeah.
And I already threw that idea out. Like a month later, I was onto a new concept and just trying to come up with something. And Mike's like, "Hey, remember that god awful idea you had?" Well, I fixed it, and here it is. And that was the first draft we had of issues, where and I think Mike can pick it up from here.
Hey, Mike, you can hear her, right?
Yeah. Well,
All
she's like 3 feet away from me. Now.
Oh, well, because I'm looking at my screen and there's a muted icon next to.
Yeah, her mic is muted. My mic is right.
Oh, okay. So
if I turn my mic on, it'll be major feedback between
yeah,
the
it
mics.
gives crazy feedback.
all right, that's right.
But
all right.
you can hear her though, right?
Yeah, I can hear her
Yeah,
fine.
if you can hear her, then yeah, we're good.
Sweet.
My mic's it's killer. It'll
I
pick up all
forgot
kinds of
about
shit.
that.
So.
All right, I forgot about the feedback thing going on. All right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Our first we tried doing our first stream. So we actually just launched a YouTube channel as well, and we tried doing our first stream. We ended up having to immediately take it down. It was just a fucking nightmare. we got that fixed. But one of the things is that she everyone had been drinking, and then we were like, yeah, we're getting all this crazy feedback. So she's like, oh, okay, cool, I'll fix it. And then she gets up and like has herself on camera and is like walking around the house trying to get away from us. And she goes into my room so that everyone could just see all the shit in my room. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Get off of my bed. Oh, okay, cool. And then she goes to like almost sit down like in my closet. She goes to get my closet. I have like personal shit like everywhere, man. My what is it? My shadow box is all up on the wall. It's got like my name and my rank and all my shit up on it and shit. I'm like, dude, what are you doing, man?
So we finally figured out after all that shit that this mic is so good, it could pick up my mic from across the house. So the feedback would not stop until I turned my mic off.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. We had an echo. She was in the other room back here behind us. She was over here in my room, and then she was going to go over to her room, and it kept picking up.
Yep.
Oh,
it
was a trip, man. Yeah.
It's a really good mic.
So now she just sits here next to me.
What kind of mic is it?
It's just a Yeti.
Yeah, it's a blue Yeti.
Yeah. It's just Yetis are crazy strong, man. I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it's if you left it on and you stepped away to go use the bathroom, then people could probably hear you on stream going.
I should do that next time. Actually.
Oh, no.
Oh, man, it's a shame that you guys took that stream down. I'd like to go check it out.
Well, we're
going to edit it down and like get the highlights out of it. But there were just a lot of good, awful chunks that we're just like, no one needs to see that.
We have we have it now to where we actually have it's we're calling it the Black Flag Podcast, right? And so we have the official episode 1 up.
Oh.
And that one's up and good. And that was one that we did just me, Snoots, and WyzGyz. And we were doing, we talk a bunch of shit. It started out like 4 hours long, and I cut it down to just over 3 hours. I cut out pretty much all the fillers, so it's all just meat and potatoes. And it's good, though. Like, the first half of it is essentially, or almost first half, is like us talking specifically, like, in depth. So if you have any listeners that, like, want to know even more about the comic or whatever, and they don't get a chance to ask, they can go watch that, because we're in depth on the comic itself and our reasoning why and our mindset and all that kind of shit. But then the rest of it's talking about like relatively current events and whatnot. You know, we talk about like Tom King and shit like that. Cecil's cover, Kwanzaa, shit like that.
What is the name of the channel?
War Dance Comics.
War Dance Comics.
Yep. Yeah. On the YouTubes.
Huh?
Oh, this is super weird. I don't
know. You wanted double coverage.
Don't fuck this up for us. This is why people don't invite us back.
Except for JD.
Yeah.
What could be better than a stream with one Snoots than two Snoots?
The more Snoots, the better.
There you go.
Shit.
Let's
That.
Let me see. Beep.
Yeah. See? So the other guy, there's another War Dance Comics, like the thing underneath that, it said like War Dance Comics Party or whatever. So there was another comic deal. Yeah, so when we got War Dance Comics, we came up with the name and whatnot, and it turns out that there used to be a War Dance Comics already. So we got a hold of the guy, and we're like, hey, man, you're not doing it now because we use the name. He's like, yeah, cool. So that's all his stuff. So if there's any fucking weirdo shit on there, it's not us, man. We only have like 4 things, and it's specifically
Like the link you clicked on, that was it.
that first thing, that one there with the rhino and the ferret on it, that's us. Anything else is totally not us. The like War Dance Comics Party 2011 and that's not us. I don't know what that is. So if any fucking weird eyes wide shut shit happens on those, that's not us, man.
So you guys just came to a mutual agreement with these other creators, saying that we're not going to step on each other's toes, and
well, they're not doing it anymore.
He went under I think Cosmic Comics or something.
Yeah, he's under a different
He changed
name now.
labels.
That was like an old project of his. We only found out that they exist when we started up the Facebook page itself. And it wouldn't let us use the name. And it's like, oh, you can't do that. And I was like, well, the fuck I can't, Facebook. You better let me do it. And it turns out that we couldn't. So
and I found the page, and I got a hold of the guy who used to run it. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's totally me. Yeah, you can have it. And let me switch over the thing. Here you go. It's yours now. Have fun.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
so this one is yours.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, that's our logo.
And
the black flag one.
All right.
Yeah.
So that should be over here. Yeah, there it is.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, it's pretty good, man. It's I edited it down myself. I was trying to get down as much as I possibly could, so it wasn't like, oh man, 4 hours, I'm gonna listen to that shit. But I also did in the description of it, I put like timestamps. If you only wanted to hear about the comic, you can listen to the first portion. If you want to hear about certain rants, I have all the timestamps on there, so people can just kind of go and cherry pick through what they want to hear.
Yeah,
a lot of it is just us. It's just a collection of hardcore ADD. We're just going off the rails like the majority of the time.
Huh. All right.
Talking shit. A lot of talking shit.
All right. Cool. Got to check into that. I made sure I subbed. Oh, you know what? Speaking of which, War Dance Comics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's got a. She's starting to upload her speed painting and all that kind of stuff. Like that first video we did was her inking someone's art of Robin. That was pretty cool.
Like for a warm up.
Yeah. So like every day she does warm up. She does like speed painting and whatnot. So we're gonna start putting those up there as well.
So did the two of you already know each other pretty well before you guys even moved in together?
Yeah. We were friends for years.
No, I black bagged her, man. She was waiting for the bus, dude. I just rose up behind her and like choked her out. You live here now. You drop. No, you drop. No, we were friends for a long, long time. Actually, we were friends back in our Rooster Teeth days. Back in the day, back when
Rooster Teeth had a community.
Yeah, and
Jesus.
I kind of became like her big brother. I looked after her for a lot of things, and she was just in a shit environment and was finally ready to get the hell out of it. And my wife and I have been talking about, I brought it up to her. I was like, hey man, she's, if she needs to get out of there, we got the room and whatnot. And Heather's like, oh yeah, totally, she's great. So we did. One day we were just like, dude, get the fuck out of there. Come on over here. We'll take care of you.
Yep.
And that's what's up. So
Sweet.
we're just all one big family.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty trippy.
It was pretty cool.
Was one of the prerequisites of her moving in that she thoroughly loved comics?
One of the prerequisites was that we would actually make this goddamn comic.
Yeah, so
because I came up with the comic back in like 2013.
It's 2013.
And I didn't move in until 3 years ago, so 2015, 16, something like that.
It's 2020 right now. There, sweetheart.
I stopped counting.
Anywho, so all right. back to actually the original question. This is going on out there. She had shut up. She had an idea. I was like, I'm sorry, that's really bad. Just speaking as a writer, that's terrible because she has all these different ideas, but she's an artist. She sees like a snapshot, right? Not that artists can't write, but she's that type of an artist where she sees this beautiful, awesome, just snapshot of something, right? And that's it. That's the concept. But there's nothing past that. It's all just kind of her own shit. And I'm like, a reader's not going to see what you see. You need to give them a reason to care. And there's no real way to go anywhere with that, right? Even being like a web series, maybe. And we actually were wanting to try to make it work in the first place. It wasn't just completely shot down. We were going to have a dude publish them for us. But that fucking fell through.
Is that why you guys were on Rooster Teeth?
No, we were on Rooster Teeth in the first place from Red versus Blue. Yeah, it's well, I don't know why fuck she was on, but
yeah,
I had an army buddy of mine one time was like, dude, have you heard of Red versus Blue? And I'm like, no. And it was on like episode 2, but like so it was that long ago. And he was like, oh my god, you got to watch this shit. And I watched it, and I was like, yeah, it's pretty good because in the first place they're talking like they're soldiers, right? Like, why are we here, right? And so we got a kick out of it. So I started watching that, and then I ended up meeting her because she was posting up art. I like art. We bought some of her art like before she ever moved in. We bought some of it, and we still have it hanging on the wall. And she was posting up some of her art, and she did a lot of like her own modeling herself for her stuff. Oh. And so a bunch of people were on there, and they were simping hard. And it really, that has always bugged me. So I wasn't doing like the internet white knight thing and being like, oh, that's a lady. No, I was more like, dude, have some fucking respect for yourself. Why are you talking like that? Just a lady pops up, for all you know, she's a fucking asshole. Like, why are you gonna be like that? You know, a lady pops up, you're like, oh my god, oh, everything you do is amazing. I'm like, dude, tell her she's a good artist, but her shit needs work. Like, that's why you post things up, is for critique, right?
Yeah.
And but I was the one who wasn't like simping on her, right? And I was just like, I went in there and I said my piece and I pieced out. And then she came and found me. It was like,
because I was tired of the Sims, and I was just like,
she's like, what's your deal? I'm like, I just hate that shit. So whatever. And then she friended me, and we just became. She was like my little sister since then. She's kind of tagged along, and she would do things, and I'd be like, no, that's not how the real world works. This is how you want to do. So now she grew up, and now she's a kick-ass, fucking hard drinking fucking lady. She's cool though. She's a really cool lady, and she just didn't have a whole lot of not direction, because that makes me sound like a fucking groomer, but she just didn't have anyone like kind of like looking after her, you know. And I've just always kind of been that dude. I've always just kind of been like cruising through life, and if someone comes in and they're hurting or they need help or anything like that, I'm like, hey, you know, cool. I'll help out. I'm going this way. You're welcome to come this way too. You know, wherever our path ends up, you know, you take off, then do your thing, you know.
Welcome, Max Works. Hello, you creators and moderator.
Hello.
All right.
How is it going?
There.
Everybody, post your questions in the chats. All right.
No some more?
But yeah, no, that was an excellent summary. We were on Rooster Teeth for the community to begin with, and back when Rooster Teeth had a community, and he got on. Well, you said episode 2. I
didn't join the community till a little later because I'm just super antisocial. But I followed Red versus Blue from episode 2. Yeah, that was what I watched with Avery.
I was a fan for Red versus Blue for a while as well. But I didn't actually get an account until like right when they started season 6, or was about to start, something like that.
That was a while,
yeah.
So is that a web comic or
it's a web series? Have you heard of the anime Ruby? Or Gen? What is it?
Genlock.
Genlock, or anything like that?
I think I heard of Ruby. I don't.
Ruby was made by Rooster Teeth.
Yeah.
It was one of their later projects with the late and great Monty Ohm. He was the FX guy for Red versus Blue for later seasons, and then he pitched Ruby to them, and started season 1, season 2, and then passed away. And just it's Rooster Teeth project.
Yeah.
And about that time that he passed away as well, Rooster Teeth took a different direction, and the community basically shut down.
Ooh.
Yeah,
So
they made a bunch of changes. They got in a lady who was essentially trying to make it be like Facebook kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
And
they
then
made
it
a
just
bunch of
didn't work
changes, and
out.
it killed the community that was there in the first place. It had this like super like hardcore geek underground community there, and I had a big group in there. I ran a page on there. And,
I did as well.
It was the group of manliness. It was it was fucking
And I
cool.
ran VAG, the visual arts group.
Yeah.
VAG, but fondly called VAG.
So when I found her, she was on the streets running vag, and
We legitimately held contests
in,
and stuff. It was a great
took her
community.
in, gave her a bath.
But yeah, it took a different, the site itself took a different turn, not VAG, the other side.
So the community, because of the redesign of the platform,
Yeah.
got wiped out. It
They deleted the links to be able to get in touch with the groups. When they redesigned the website, all of the the profiles became extremely glitchy to where nobody wanted to be on it anymore. And the only thing that would work was when you go to watch their own content, when you go to watch the Rooster Teeth content, and interacting with people is so unbelievably glitchy. People are like, I'm out.
Yeah. It's almost like they had sabotaged the community so people can get on there, watch their content. But there used to be a bunch of content creators on there as well. They would post up their own stuff in all their groups and everything.
Like me.
Yeah. And it killed that. It killed any outside anything. Which is it's their right. It's their site. It's their right. You know, we all moved on and found other shit. Actually, WyzGyz is our Twitter guy. He was a buddy of ours on there as well.
I think he's how me and him ended up getting in touch.
Yeah,
because I was friends with
the
WyzGyz
people simping in the
beforehand.
first place were actually mutual friends. It was WyzGyz's friends.
WyzGyz commented on one of my things, which is how my thing came up in Mike's feed in the first place.
Yeah.
Oh. All right.
Yep.
Awesome.
Thanks, WyzGyz.
They were all up in badge. They were all up in badge commenting on a thing.
Wait, so hers was called Veg. What was yours called again?
Mine?
Yeah.
Oh, it was the group of manliness.
Which WyzGyz was in well, right?
Yeah, he was in that too. He was one of my head guys, man. He was like one of my lieutenants. It was cool though. It was just like because there were a lot of. I started that group because there was a lot of people on there where if there was a lady, they'd be, oh my god, they would just simp on them, right? And I'm like, this is where it's okay on the internet to still be a guy. And women are totally welcome too, but just remember that not everyone's going to just kiss your ass whenever you say something. And we had a lady come in. We had a few women actually, but one of them did come in. Perfect example where she was like, why is it every time I get with someone, they turn out to be an asshole? This and that, right? And everyone was like, oh my God, there's real men out there. It's great. And I was like, okay, well, look, just to be honest, if every person you get with is like that, you might be the issue. Maybe you need to make better decisions, or maybe you're an asshole. Not every guy is bad, obviously, but I'm not saying like, oh my God, there's nice guys. I'm like, dude, there's nice guys. Make better decisions. I don't know what to tell you. If this one here smells like the last one, fucking go somewhere else.
There's common denominator, which is you.
But that was kind of the point of the group, is so we can be real with each other about that shit. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not dumping on anyone for making bad decisions. I am on my 4th marriage right now. This was an amazing decision, and I don't thoroughly regret anything before. There's not a whole lot of love loss or whatever, but I know that I grew up a lot to make the decision that I did now. I see something in the wife that I have now that I realize I should have been looking for in the first place. But I needed to hammer out my own kinks. And that's really what it is with everyone. Everyone needs to hammer out their own shit. You can't get with someone and expect them to pull you up. You can't get with someone and expect them to have you grow, because that just brings down the other guy. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
But yeah, so Rooster Teeth.
Oh yeah, so comics and shit, right?
Yeah.
So that's why we're in comics. 'cause of
So
all that.
this is what our podcast is like.
That's
It's just
why
like
our podcast is
ADD
4
off the
hours.
rails.
Yeah.
Between my ADD, his ADD, and Jeg's ADD, it goes off.
Yeah. It's
That
really
sounds
bad.
pretty interesting. That sounds pretty interesting. I have a tendency to go off on tangents myself. And
So oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just going to add that, not to mention the fact that I tend to be verbose as well. So, going
So
on.
we did have or you had a legitimate actual question as to why the comic was started and the reasoning and whatnot behind it, right? The short answer for that, to actually get a good answer out there for anyone who's going to watch this, is two best friends. One of them specifically has been in comics like his entire life and realized that there was going to be another comic book revolution on the horizon. Back 7 years ago, when she was telling me that, and I'm like, hey, it's a really good idea actually doing the comic thing because I can smell blood in the water with the way comics are going now, that there's going to be another revolution. There's going to be something else. It's like every 20 years. So you had with Saber and Eclipse Comics back in the like 70s. And then you had it again with Todd McFarlane and Image in the 90s. And I could smell that it was going to happen again, that there was some shit that was going to happen, right? And that's what got me into it, was the whole thing that, like, when Image first launched, like, that's what got me into it in the first place, in the comics. But then also since then, I've learned about the Mulaney's and whatnot that started Eclipse Comics and everything. And that was very much just say, like, hey, you can't do comics like that. And they were like, well, fuck you, we'll do it ourselves. And they just became pirates, essentially. And that's kind of what Todd McFarlane did, right? He was just, I'll do it myself then. And, you know, and it's going to be creator owned and all that. And I could feel that was going to happen. And then we tried to get off the ground for so long, and we never stopped developing it. So the script is literally honed for 7 years of just bullshitting with it, right? But it's a bunch of comic friends, like me and my friends, whatnot. We talked about it, and we honed out how the character would be, so on and so forth. Doing that super deep lore, geek out, arguing with each other, how geeks do. You know, no, well, the Flash could do this and this, and blah blah. We did all that, and we took it all into consideration, and we hammered out this actual, an actual universe, this true lore that we had. And then it wasn't until the end of last year that I actually had enough money that I could set aside to take however long off of work. So I'm not working, like, this is what we do all day, every day. And we took this time off work, and we're like, you know what, let's fucking do it, man. Because while we've been sleeping on this project, ComicsGate happened. While we've been sleeping on this project, Ethan brought back Cyberfrog. Frega brought back, you know, Black Flag. We got like you were just on with Graham Nolan. Like we got all these big badass dudes, and everyone's like, this is what's up. This is the revolution. And we were sleeping on our project. And actually, the whole lore, the whole thing with our project is, aside from the name issues that started off as they were all supposed to have issues. But the reason why we kept the name is not only is it just kind of like a nod to how we first started, but I have the book. It's going to be a longer book, and it's going to be set up kind of like how they did with Crisis. How there's like, this is, you know, issue, you know, 5 through 6 of Green Lantern, and then this covers, you know, such and such from the Flash and this and that. We're doing that in this. So these are supposed to all actually be heroes that have had established comics before. So like the first couple chapters is going to be focusing on, say, our speedster Haste. And it's going to actually, like, the little chapter bumps are going to look like little comic covers, this and that. So it's like an actual collection of existing comics creating this big, larger event, right? And just like with all the other events in comics that we all grew up with, at the end of it, the industry itself and the whole lore itself has changed. So with us, we're starting from a specific starting point. At the end of it, you have created this new universe. And the starting point we have now is there's so many amazing creators doing indie comics right now, they have this covered. For us, we're trying to bring back the heroes that we had as kids, right? So we're trying to bring back like Superman and the Flash and all this kind of stuff and do them justice. So each one of our heroes is a hero archetype that has been beaten down by this. The governments of the world that we have is based on the comic industry, and how I feel like the comic industry has truly wiped their ass with a lot of these amazing heroes that they they've always been used as being amazing, but the comic industry now just has this weird grudge against classic kick-ass heroes, right? So we're taking these beat down classic kick-ass heroes and we're putting them through their trials, showing how heroic they actually are, how awesome they actually are. So by the end of the actual full story, which is going to have 3 volumes, by the end of the full story, we have like we're establishing pretty much like an actual like Justice League. They're bringing up this amazing, like these are the new Titans. So we're showing that, and we're bringing back for a new generation, showing the heroes that we grew up with, how those heroes, like how badass those heroes used to be. So that's the heart behind it. It's very much about classic heroes, but it's also about the fans. Like we really want a lot of fan interaction. Like all of our stretch tiers and everything is going to be about like, what do you guys want? What do you guys want to see in the book? What's up?
So if I may.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
So this, all he said is correct. Yes. It's really a good depiction of what a lot of our geek outs were like upset about, the classic heroes being adapted to the modern era and just completely butchered. So what we ended up doing is how we would perceive these old heroes brought into the modern era, revitalized, and not only that, with modern comics having all these self-inserts and like, we need representation, but it's all just dog shit. Like, what would actual representation look like? Like the actual person in the comic, these actual fans being included in the comic, instead of like this vague, I think this is what you would like, and just completely missing the mark. Like, we want you involved in the comic. We want the fan involved and like have a say in it.
Yeah.
Versus just like what the comic industry is now. We're going to revitalize heroes. Like, we're going to diversify and include your, what is it? Shit. What do the twins shout?
Oh, they're here for a younger demographic.
Yeah, demographic. That's the word I'm looking for.
Demographic. Yeah.
We're here to represent your demographic, and they're completely off the mark. And when the fans come back and say, "Hey, that's dog shit. You need to fix this," and they're like, "Fuck you, we're pros."
Yeah.
So this is our answer to that. Where, fuck you, we're pros. Do it yourself. So we're doing it ourselves.
Yeah.
And if you want to be in the comic, be in our comic. Awesome. We want to hear that feedback. We want to bring back the classic heroes. Yeah. It's just all of it in one badass
and with
package.
The one of the big things that that the industry right now is doing so wrong is they make certain decisions, pretty much pandering to people who are not going to buy their books anyway. Mm-hmm. They make these decisions, and they don't listen to the fan feedback, right? So one of the things that I really want to focus on in this is customer service side of it. So we want all the feedback. We're listening to all of it. Like, what do you guys want to see?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're trying to do like the exact opposite. Actually, like the whole the kind of an allegory, I guess. I don't want to say it's totally allegorical, but it is, as far as the government being whatever. Same. The government being like the comic book industry, they shit on the heroes, so our heroes are kind of beat down, but we're bringing them back up and whatnot. But also, we're trying to do the opposite of what these guys did with the fans as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you guys had gripes about what they did with your heroes that you liked there, and everyone told you, shut up, man, baby, or whatever, bring it to us. We'll fuck it. If you want to see that, bring it to us. We want to put it in there. There's a lot of I am so easily angered by shit in comics that there's a lot of shit that I already have in there where a lot of people will be like, oh man, they did this. I fucking already got it covered, man. I have a whole chapter. I have a whole chapter just for that, you know?
Cool.
Yeah. Hey, who's this fucking asshole in chat?
Max work?
I'm sorry, I wasn't even listening to you over there. I was distracted from this fucking punk airing out his bitch tits, talking a bunch of shit.
What's going on?
Fuck him.
Just some weird.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
My chat didn't even get that. Awesome.
I know. I'm on. I pulled up the actual comments. There's private chat.
No, yeah, I'm
which is
on
fun,
comments too.
and there's
I didn't
comments.
see
Oh, you didn't see that?
that. No, it didn't
Fucking
pop up.
punk.
I'm trying to figure out how to access this stuff because, you know, on my end, all I see is just the. Oh, here it is. All right.
It's funny that in the age of be conscious of your racism and all that kind of shit, it's funny that he fucking called me white.
Oh, yeah. When you're so dark, you
I
couldn't
know.
get an online bank because the
I
picture
know,
couldn't
I could-
see you.
This camera picks it up amazingly, but I tried to actually get this online. I tried to sign up for a bank account, and they're like, "Hey, take a picture of your license." I'm like, "Yeah, okay," and it wouldn't show up, man. They couldn't give me a fucking account because it wouldn't show up.
His beard is so dark, and between
Yeah.
his like hair, eyebrows, and beard, it couldn't do the face recognition software.
This shit's gonna happen though. These guys, I don't give a shit. I really don't care. That's like I cover this. Weirdly enough, I cover this in our podcast for like people that want to talk shit. I'm like, fucking do it, dude. I don't give a fuck. That's not even me being a tough guy. I don't care. I don't. I like to ignore people, man.
Let me take a screenshot real quick because he's obviously trying to make up for some shortcomings.
More than likely.
You know,
It's T-shirts.
I don't know if Facebook is on the side of harassers or what, but they actually don't. They're actually having problems letting me report it.
Yeah.
It's the strangest thing. You get
Weird.
to report it, and it says unable to complete request. Something went wrong. Yeah, right, Facebook.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, now I got it. Now I got it on the comments.
Oh, there was a delay, huh?
Yeah. I only got one of the two comments.
Yeah.
Luckily.
So I got that. Let me do this. See if this works.
Yeah, I don't even see comments on this. Hey, you're having Malin on the show tomorrow, huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
It'll be the second time.
Bitchin'. And Dave Brink too. Nice.
Yeah.
He did Perfect 10.
Ooh.
That was a killer book, man.
I'm awful with names, so whenever he mentions a name, I just like wait. Like,
Yeah.
okay, so who is that?
Wait till I start overly explaining things.
Yeah. I am absolutely awful with names.
Oh,
Like, I went to art college for a second, and yeah, I'd constantly have teachers being like, "So, was your work replicating so and so and so and so? Like, were you inspired by this guy?" I'm like, I probably I wouldn't fucking know. I'm so bad with names.
This guy.
yeah. I tend to be like it. It takes about a minimum of 10 times repeating the name before it starts to sink in, and you gotta, associate it with the face too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Before things sink in, at least in my experience. Yeah. So, well, there we are. Oh, that's kind of cool. All right. So, oops. Shoot.
You reporting it?
Yeah. Well, I was gonna I was gonna comment back on him and just be like, "Get fucked, faggot," but I don't want to get blasted on the thing. And then everyone will be like, "Oh, he doesn't like." I actually fucking love gay people. I just also like calling people faggot too. So I don't mean it like that. It's very much a Louis C.K. thing. I don't mean it like you fuck other guys. I don't care who you fuck. You're just being a punk. That's the word for it.
So I went ahead and blocked them in StreamYards, and I'm going to delete them and delete the comments as well. But I'm just going to take a snapshot.
There is the other comment. I got the
There
second
you
comment first and the first comment just now.
Leave him up, man, so everyone can laugh at his big sweaty tits.
Yeah, really.
Look at the ugly cow, and that guy's white. Come on, guys, look at him. He's white. Look at my tits. I'm doing an upward angle so I look buff. Shut up.
Oh my gosh.
What up?
Yeah. So, all right.
Anywho, I'm sorry. I hate
For
assholes.
those of you watching on YouTube, we got comments on other platforms from a disgusting gentleman.
I don't like, legitimately, I don't like assholes. I'm an asshole. Like, I'm brash a lot of times, but I don't like just shitty people. I really don't.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's a big pet peeve of mine, man.
Which, as Mike has stated, we kind of go over in our podcast. For those of you who would like to check it out, it's in the comments. We just don't like assholes. Like, just be cool. Like, for us in our comic, we're hot dog salesmen. Like, we're here to deliver products, and that's that. We're not here to start shit. So if you want to start shit, go somewhere else. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Everybody just needs to chill the fuck out.
No, everyone,
There's so much shit going on in the world right now.
Everyone's so tense all the time, man. They're always so angry.
Like, shit.
Chill out.
Across the seas, friggin' shit got blown up. Like, here, everybody, like, wear a mask. Don't wear a mask. Like, everybody's getting pissed off about that. Like, everybody just chill out for a second and just be okay. You don't have to pick fights all the time. It's okay.
Yeah.
Hell, I have to tell that to an 8-year-old every day. Like, just chill out.
Yeah.
Stop trying to pick a fight.
This is the first time people are used to or have experienced a quote-unquote pandemic and quarantine. So people are like all over the place, not sure how to handle it.
Well, it's like everybody also forgot Y2K with the toilet paper thing, and everybody got a wild hair up their ass and is just pissed off now.
Yeah, it is goofy.
Yeah, every 20 years we had Y2K. Now it's this.
It's not even every 20 years. It's just every fucking election year.
Yeah,
every election year, someone fucking loses their mind.
Yeah, there's always some major epidemic every election year.
Yep.
Let's check out this trailer here.
Let's do that.
Oh, our spoof trailer.
Is that a ferret?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, yep, it's good. Flick. All right, it's working. We're doing a trailer for a comic? How does that work? All right, whatever. In a world marred by personal politics, where heroes have been reduced to a novelty, one team of superpowered misfits will set out to right the wrongs of their pasts, and once again remind the world what it truly means to be a hero. A young special agent assigned to investigate a job, searching for the truth of her father's death. What the hell's going on here? The most powerful being ever known, hoping to regain the trust of the country he loves, accused of murder. Best friends trying to maintain a sense of justice under the eye of an easily manipulated public. Cavalier twins trying to honor the legacy of their fallen parents. ... And a monkey. The hell is this garbage? Issues, Volume 1, only on Indiegogo. Nailed it.
Yeah, he was really enthused.
Yeah. We wanted him to be a because we don't we're not taking it is supposed to be like a spoof, right? So even though it does have a very serious story, there's a lot of really dark, serious parts to it. The overall thing, I want it to be fun, right? So I had a guy, he's actually a friend of hers, and he's trying to get into voice acting. And I'm like, dude, come in here, do it like BoJack Horseman, right? BoJack Horseman is like doing something like beneath him, so he gets drunk. I'm doing voice acting, okay, whatever. So he's hammered, right? So we actually got the guy drunk. So what you heard was legit like Rick and Morty style. Like we got him drunk, and I was like, read this shit, bitch. And he did. So like at first with the how he can't pronounce cavalier, he actually could not pronounce cavalier. So we just did it to where it was like supposed to be it's a true, you know, actor, and he can't you know, it's fucking beneath him, so he doesn't take it seriously. And that's kind of the point, is it's supposed to be funny, you know. And how he's just like, yeah, nailed it, like a single take. That's all I'm gonna do. That's what you get. You know, cut it however you want.
Right.
Yeah. He was here for like because we got him like really drunk. I didn't realize
like he came here in late afternoon, and then I think those lines were recorded at like 8 p.m. Yeah. So we were drinking like that whole time.
We drink a lot. Like that's one thing where when she first moved here, I actually had a buddy that was like, oh man, we're really, you know, like they all know, like they weren't trying to come over and get at her, but they all know she's like my little sister.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh man, we're gonna I brought over a thing of like sangria or something for her. I'm like, you fucking drink it, man. We're drinking this. So I introduced her to whiskey at that point in time, and she got into that. So when dude came over, he's like, yeah, I'll have a couple drinks, but he's like, you know, younger dude, he likes the clubs and shit. Like I'm gonna mix him up some shit, and I'm like, nope. Bust out with a bottle of Bird Dog, and I'm like, let's go. No. We had Engine 49 in the first place.
Oh yeah,
120 proof.
That was bad.
And it wasn't like halfway through the bottle, he's like, how strong is this shit? And I'm like, I think it's only like 80 proof. Look at it, it's 120 proof. And then I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's probably why I'm feeling it now. And he's like, I am fucked up.
And we're like, so, okay, good. Yeah, now record your lines.
He got all fucking hammered too. But he was doing like, he talks constantly, like worse than me. And really bad. So he talks all the time. So he was going through all these different voices and shit. So he'll bust into being like Rick Sanchez from fucking Rick and Morty. He'll start talking like Rick Sanchez and start talking all these other things.
Or he'll start talking like Bane from the Christian Bale series.
He's like if a full-on schizophrenic like didn't have an internal dialogue. Like he's just going through all these different voices and shit. And then he said some shit that was totally BoJack Horseman, and I was like, that. Turn the mic on, do that, read this. But he's like,
I don't even know what I'm doing. Just do that.
Talking. He's like, yeah, I don't even know anymore. Yeah, he was. That was good. Good bourbon though. But that dude was gone. It was awesome. It was cool. I wanted to be authentic, man.
So now you've announced to the world that we're alcoholics. Congratulations.
We're not alcoholics.
Nah.
You're an alcoholic. I am festive. Is what I like to call it. Yeah, he just wasn't used to it.
I'm not an alcoholic. So, I'm an artist.
Yeah. But no, it is for anyone who actually like watches it. Like we played it on the show we did with Malin, and I remember watching it too. And he was just like right afterward, he was just like, "Huh." And I'm sitting there cracking up. He's just like, "Okay." So everyone has all these like epic trailers and shit, but art stuff. Everything I'm trying to just have it be fun. Like there will definitely be some serious like shit go down in the books that we do, but I still want it to be fun because for me, comics are supposed to be immersive and they're supposed to be fun and you're on that journey with these characters, you know? And I really want that in there.
Yeah.
So I wanted this to just show like our very first trailer we did. I just wanted to show that we don't take it seriously, you know, and who the fuck are we to take it seriously anyway? Yeah, we're you know, indie creators. Yeah, we're actually making a comic, but look at the other indie creators that are out right now. Like we're not going to outcolor Kyle Ritter. We're not going to outdraw Ethan and fucking Dan Fraga. Like, we're not gonna, you know what I'm saying? We're just gonna do our own thing, and hopefully people feel about our stuff the way that I felt about things when I first got into it. And that's the feeling I want to bring back. When I was a kid, I got into comics because, like, I was a kid, right? And I went through some really shitty stuff in my life. And a friend of mine, it was actually a girl. She was like a girlfriend that I had, and she had comics, and she was like, "Here, read this," and shut the fuck up. It's pretty much what it was. She was like, because I was just like, "Oh my god, my parents," and she's like, "Read this, shut the fuck up." And I read it, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Not only was it a hero that I had never seen before. It was when Spawn first came out, right? So I had never seen a hero be like that before. But also, I realized that for that time that it took me to read that, I forgot about the shit that was going on with me. I was in it. I was invested in his shit. I wanted to know more about what his deal was. And that's kind of like the immersion I'm talking about with that. I want it to be that these heroes are tainted by the same kind of world that we're all dealing with as well. And they're picking themselves up and they're pushing forward. And I want you to root for these characters. I want people to really feel for what they're going through. And the real problems that they go through are the problems that we have had with the comic industry and with what they're doing with comics and everything. So I want our heroes and their struggles to actually address those problems.
Right.
Yeah. So I really want for readers to kind of feel vindicated towards the end of it, of like, yeah, man, like I want people to know that it was written and drawn by someone who totally feels what they're feeling about comics,
And it's been about roughly 7 years in the making.
Yeah.
You
7
guys
years.
Hammered out.
2013.
You guys hammered out all the ideas between you guys in your own tight knit.
Yeah. We have.
It started off with like 5 story arcs, and we cut out all the fat and all the bullshit, the shit that doesn't need to happen.
Yeah, there was a lot of little side stuff that we were like, oh man, wouldn't it be cool if they did that? Yeah, it would be cool, but it doesn't really fit anywhere. Yep. Maybe one day we'll do like a little side thing of like just little adventures. But...
like how anime has OVA or something like that. Yeah. We might do like a little ash can.
I think that would be neat. But we, so this is volume 1, and we have 3 volumes for the main story. Okay. And then there is one side thing that happens. It's going to be its own book being released. But if people just want the main story, they can get the 3 volumes and that's it. Yep. Right. They do not need the side thing. So it's not like a pressure buy kind of a thing, but it's going to be a fun, like different thing. It's actually going to be a mixture of like Voltron and Megasex LR.
Yeah.
Is this little side fucking spoof thing that happens. And it's actually our buddy, his name's Chris Meadows. He is that is what our speedster Haste. He's inspired by this buddy of ours because his favorite character is the Flash. So we kind of like put him in there. It's actually a story that when I first told him I'm going to start writing a comic, he was like, man, that's awesome. Cause he's a massive comic dork. He goes, he's like, yeah, my brother and I, what, man, you're looking at me. What?
You're going off on
a
story we haven't even announced yet.
He's like, yeah, no, I'm not telling about the story. God damn. You see this shit? And you want 2 of them? Fuck. No, he's like, yeah, my brother and I, we were younger. We came up with this comic idea as well. And he told me about it, and I was like, that's awesome. And since it's like he is a would-be creator, like he would have put that out, but that was his dream when he was a kid with his brother. And I'm like, I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to have that be a thing. I want to see my buddy's dream come out too. So I want to actually make a little side thing that I already have it written in. I already know exactly how it's going to happen. And it actually legitimately ties in really well, but it keeps, because I have it as a side thing, it keeps the original story that he wanted to do, that's like this super kind of lighthearted kind of thing. And so I'm keeping all of that. And that's the kind of shit like why I want with all the tiers of like, getting drawn and getting speaking role, or even like chatting with us and pitching an idea with us, all that kind of stuff. I want the challenge of being able to write all of that in there. I want fans to be excited for, oh man, I had this idea. Let's see how he puts it in there. And I really want to do that, man. If this thing ends up being you know, in the first place, we were looking at having it hopefully be about 100 pages. But if it ends up being more than that, then fucking let's do it, man. I want to do it because I want people to be excited for it, you know?
All right. Checking out some of the interiors and the coloring.
Yep.
So that process is just a quick little tidbit. Is thumbnailing is stick figures.
My thumbnailing is terrible. So
Thumbnailing
bad.
is stick figures, and then I do the thumbnails 2.0, and then I do penciling, inking, handing over to Mike for flatting, and then I go back in and do the shading and all that shit.
Grab that one up there.
The
Yeah, the middle one up top.
got pitch six.
The page that you're on right there. Stay there. Stay there real quick.
All right.
This one?
No, up.
That
That
one?
That one.
All right.
This here. Let me see.
No, I get it.
Okay. That is my thumbnail for that.
Oh, that's more.
So
than
this is a little face. It's got the eyes that goes
Yeah.
and then the guy's just
Oh, my
sitting there.
thumbnail is ass.
So yeah.
But she's like, she's known me and lived with me long enough to know, like, when I draw up a little thing, I'm like, hey, so it's gonna be like this, and that, or whatever, and she's like, yeah, okay, and then she'll do that.
Half of it is those thumbnails, and the other half is him being Italian and talking with his hands and shit.
Yeah, I super animated, all acted out and everything. But a lot of times, like with the, you can't really tell with these ones here, but I do a lot of like this, like different dynamic angles with certain like the action shots. So I'll like pose like a little figure, and I'll like get this super like different angle, and I'll take a picture of it to try to show her like this is exactly what I'm looking for, you know.
Oh yeah, action
And then,
figures are best visual aid when it comes to stuff like this.
Yeah. And then when she's sometimes she's just like, that's not going to translate well.
Yeah.
And I'm like, shut up and fucking draw it. And then she goes, oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me for being an artist for the last fucking 20 years and you can't draw for shit. But yeah, okay, I'll go ahead and do it. And then she'll draw it and I'll be like, that looks like ass, man. You obviously weren't listening to me. So every now and then she'll take her tablet and just go lock herself in her room and then come back out and be like, here. And I'm like, oh, that looks awesome. That's great. I'm glad you listened to me.
You spiteful asshole.
Snoots, you've been doing art for 20 years?
Yeah, as long as I've been alive. I grew up in a very conservative household, if I'll put it plainly. I wasn't allowed to do much, so staying inside all day, I drew. And I didn't really have any friends willing to model or anything, so I drew me. Or when I was younger, the one group of friends I had, they're really into manga. Somebody brought a how to draw book to class, and I didn't even follow the directions. I just flipped to the last page and like copied it just visually. Like, here's the picture, here's my drawing, and I just drew it real quick. And everybody geeked out. So I had friends via manga. So I was into manga for a minute. But yeah, for my life, I've been balancing manga and realistic portraits and whatnot. So,
Yeah. Oh yeah, she has a. Oh man,
So-
it actually almost makes me feel bad, like that. This is the only interior art that we have, and like we didn't post up other things that you've done. Because one time she had. Okay, so I'm like a ridiculous freaking Batman nerd, right? And
I can go get it real quick.
No. It's fine. But I'm like, hey, you know, what's your like the easiest thing, you know, that you do? And she's like, photorealism with charcoal. I'm like, what bullshit?
Every artist is like, I hate
It's the
charcoal, I
hardest
hate
thing to do,
photorealism. I
And
love
she's
it.
like,
I'm
no,
not
for real.
bragging. I just do.
So we had this, like, it was like a scheme almost. I was like, oh my God. I picked out a bunch of like Batman 1989 pictures that are like super iconic. And I'm like, dude, you got to do this, right? But she never ended up like finishing it because there's so many other things that we've had to do,
Yeah.
whatever. But she started doing it, right?
I gridded
And,
out, and then I sketched everything out, and then I started in the center with the eye, and that's as far as it got.
fucking looks like his eye. It's bizarre. It's fucking nuts. But other things like she's like, oh yeah, I can paint these other things. Like I'm in a Transformers group, you know. She's like, oh yeah, I can do a thing with Transformers. Think people will buy it? I'm like, yeah, dude, absolutely.
I did this sketch of like half Optimus Prime's face and half Megatron's face, and it's like, do you think this would sell?
Yeah,
and
she was gonna do it like 2 paintings, right? Where it's like this dude's face, this dude's face. She just sketches it out on like grid paper, and it looks like straight up like the legit, like real, like cover art, man. I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you doing, man? And she's like, I don't know. It's just what I do. But that's all it was. She used to, she's been featured like a bunch of times. She used to be, you know, like a legit painter or whatnot back in Texas.
Yeah,
And,
I've been in a bunch of contests, a bunch of gallery things.
But her
nothing lately.
Her environment essentially was super controlling, and she wasn't really allowed to be free with it, you know?
So it had to be very professional.
Yeah.
Because manga is of the devil or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But in coming here, essentially, I was just like, man, all right, dude, I'll get you out of there. You can move here and whatnot. But we're doing this comic, man. You're gonna start drawing for this, and we're doing this. And she's like, yeah, okay. So that was kind of one of the terms of her moving here.
Yeah. I'm
like, you'll be here, free room and board, you know, but help out with the house, and we're doing this fucking comic. And she's like, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, she's new to the whole comic world, but she's a killer artist.
Thank you.
Do you have your own YouTube, or do you post to Instagram, or?
Yeah, I post to Instagram. Von Snips, VONSNIPS. But YouTube, I post to the War Dance. I've been posting some of my warm ups. I want to post more, but yeah, I'll do like speed paints or something and post it on the War Dance thing. But my own Instagram is VONSNIPS at Instagram.
Yeah.
So is it? Refresh my memory. Is there an @ sign in front of the handle?
Well, yeah.
All right. So there is. Okay. How did you come up with? How did you get the nickname of Snoots?
Okay, so I'll make a very long story short. I suck with S's. So.
And everything's gonna have an S in it now too.
Oh yeah. So
shit.
I was back in Texas, and I'm a huge Star Wars fan since infancy. Jesus. And because I was very conservative, I was like, I'm not watching Clone Wars because Anakin's an apprentice and gets a female apprentice in the middle of it. Doesn't make any goddamn sense. And Mike watches it, and he tells me, you need to see this shit for multiple reasons. I was like, I refuse, no. And he's like, no, you are Snips. You need to watch it. I'm like, I don't know what that means. So he just started calling me Snips out of spite.
Oh,
and
man.
Then
yeah, because it's so
I hated that nickname.
She was like, no. Her name was Snips, but literally the attitude and the whole personality of Ahsoka and their relationship with Ahsoka and Anakin is 100% us. It's totally us. So I was talking to her one day. I was at work, and I was like, "You're my fucking Snips." And it's funny because she actually had another nickname for me at the time, which seemed a lot like Anakin as well, which I thought was actually really funny. But I'm like, "You're my Snips," and then she came here because I can say S's still, and you can't. She came here, and it went from like Snips, and then we were like making fun of that nickname, so we called her Snorts for a second, and then Snoots happened
because someone fucked up saying Snoots, probably, and then it just stuck.
Yeah, and then I was like, that's actually really funny. I like that nickname, Snoots. So that's actually why. So the original name was Snips. So the Von Snips that happened, the full name is Snoots Von Snips. It's like, so we made like a full name out of it.
My proper name is Vaughn, VAUGHN.
Yeah.
But nobody can fucking spell it. So forever, like when I go to coffee shops or something, how do you spell your name? VON. Just don't fuck it up. Just VON.
Yeah.
So
so
Snoots
her
Von
artist
Snips
name
happened from nicknames and my name. So.
But she also like never goes by her
No.
given her birth name anyway.
because
So
nobody can fucking spell it nor pronounce it for some
Yeah.
reason.
Well, is Vaughn your last name?
No,
That's your
which
first.
is the funny part.
Oh,
No, it's my middle name, but it's what my parents have called me forever.
real quick though, are you trying to keep anonymity
Nah,
As an
I don't give a
artist?
shit.
as a lady artist?
If they could look up my real name, there's nothing attached to it. I don't give a
Alright.
shit.
Okay. I'm just
and
Because nobody will know my first. No one will ever guess my first name. So
Oh, well,
It's
that's
fine.
what he was asking. That's why I was like, hold on before you answer that. Weren't you trying to?
I didn't want to ask what her first name was. I was just curious as I assumed that Vaughn was the last name, so I was just
no.
go ahead. All right.
Yeah.
But
It's a very
I will
versatile
say-
name.
I was named after my dad, so my parents just call me by my middle name. So it's always been Vaughn. So even if people try to look me up, they're not gonna, because legally it's not even
Dude,
my
don't say that on
full
the
name.
internet. Now everyone's gonna do it.
Now 4chan's
You're
gonna be
just
after
gonna
me.
get
What's
tagged
her
with all
full
kinds- You're
name?
gonna have its own. It's gonna have its own thread.
I don't even give a shit. There's nothing attached to it. I'm not hiding anything. So
Here she is in the pool. Here she is.
Oh, so we finally
See, he found the pool one. Oh shit, the pool.
we found you. You've been ratted out, Snoots von Snips.
Yeah,
Now we know your name is Snoots.
it's fucking.
No.
but it's literally just a nickname, and it even gets weird when like Mike's mom calls me by my name, and just like everybody calls me Snoots. It's my nickname. It's what everybody calls me. So
Yeah, it's just. The
I didn't
name
even
now.
pick
That's
it. It just
what is
happened.
now.
I thought at first that Snoots was like a jacked up version or alternative to Sice Noodles, but that's like way out there.
Yeah, no, definitely
No.
not. It was
It
like
was a
all
Star
good
Wars joke.
nicknames. It was
Yeah.
done purely by mistake. Someone
Yep.
fucking something up.
And then Mike, you've been in the comic industry for like 20 years, or
No, oh god, no. I've been a comic nerd my entire life.
I'll be right back.
You good?
Yeah.
We're going.
Don't worry about it.
Oh well, here, mix another thing up.
No.
What do you mean no? Don't tell me no. What's wrong with you? We're live. No, I've been a comic nerd since I was a kid. I grew up actually as a roofer with my dad, and then I joined the military, and then I got out and I was I was a store manager for like forever and a self-defense instructor, and and now I'm doing this.
oh,
This is very much a like. Now I have the money to do it, and I'm sick of being like. I don't know. I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm a melancholy type of person, but I'm very much like. There's got to be something better. Like I miss shit being fun. You know, I miss doing things that I thoroughly love and enjoy, and comics is one of those things. You know, and I had the ability to do it. And it's the time to do it, man. You know, and we have this story where I have told this story to so many people, and they're like, "You need to do that. That's awesome." I actually our friend Bear, the one that does our Instagram for us. No, for real, do this. She, I told her the actual whole story, like beginning to end, and she cried. Like I kid you not. I know. It sounds super lame every time I say it. Where I'm like, oh yeah, and someone fucking cried. I'm that good. No, that's just how far the story went, you know. And she cried, and she was like, "This is really good. This is a real thing," you know. So, yeah, I feel like it needs to. It needs to be out there, and I feel like the redemption essentially that we have of these characters, as far as like knowing that they are a representative of our characters that we grew up with, Superman, the Flash, you know, the standard you have there is our hardware heroes. So like Batman, Nightwing, Punisher, all of those. non-powered heroes, he represents those. And the redemption arc that they all go through is powerful, and it's something that needs to be shown. I believe, because it's something that we don't get nowadays.
I don't know if you can reveal it without any spoilers, but what does Hero stand for?
Oh, Pyro. It's Parahuman Investigation, Research, and Oversight.
Okay.
So they are kind of like S.H.I.E.L.D.
All right.
That deals specifically with superheroes. So
All
in this world, superheroes have been known and have existed since the 40s, and things have happened since then. Like the main kind of crux of the story is that character that you had up there, Patriot, our Superman character.
Uh-huh.
He's the first superhero to ever be in this world, and since then, other heroes have popped up. Right. Well, he was on a team, and because he is so overtly powerful, and we've had all these other this international kind of like a Justice League type of a team, it ended the need for war in this world. So it brought out this like world peace. They essentially were the governing force, and because every country had their main hero in this team, everyone had essentially like they put all their red buttons in a room together essentially. So everyone, like, there's no real need to go to war with each other because we're all on the same team now, right? So there's a big cataclysmic event that happens, and it destroys the team. It kills everyone but Patriot. So now all of a sudden everyone goes, well, now only America has a red button, and it feels like America set that up, or maybe Patriot killed the rest of the team, right? So that's why it's like he's accused of murder essentially, and because all he knows is being a hero, he like almost retires from being a hero. Like he can't, he doesn't know what happened. He lost his memory of the event, so he like can't bring himself to be a hero. So like when we find him in the first place, he's still Patriot, but he's very reluctant to do anything heroic, right? And I actually legitimately forgot where I was going with that.
Well,
There was a question I was answering.
Pyro?
Oh, Pyro, yeah. All right, so because of that event, the governments of the world, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
The governments, I was going to give all kinds of shit away. The governments of the world agree that there should be an autonomous, like sub-government agency that specifically oversees superheroes, because now we know with the possibility of what happened with Patriot that not only could there be heroes, there could also be extremely powerful villains, and no one really cared in the first place because Patriot was powerful, way more powerful than everyone. But if Patriot did kill his team, then that means we have the most powerful being we've ever known is actually a villain, so there needs to be an oversight and there needs to be plans as to what we can do if it turns out he's guilty. But if he's fucking innocent, that means there's something we never knew of that's even more powerful than him, and it's still out there. So Pyro was created to oversee and essentially track heroes and see what their abilities are, what their weaknesses are. If we ever need to take them out, how do we do that, kind of thing, right? So now all of the heroes are essentially sanctioned. They have to be vetted by Pyro. So because this is a team, there's a fresh, the lady in the front right there is Anne. Anne Gallo, the agent of Pyro. She is assigned as a liaison. She's a Pyro agent that's assigned to that team to oversee them. So she's like their Rick Flag. So this is like a ragtag, like Suicide Squad. She is their Rick Flag. You can see that the Standard in that picture hates the monkey because he's flipping him off. And I love that we added that little Easter egg in there because the monkey is awesome and he's super intelligent, but he's also smug because he has this like inferiority complex. He's a fucking monkey, but he's smarter than everyone. And then Standard is like, because he's a hardware hero, he's supposed to be super smart, like how Batman's smarter than everyone. So they're like rivals. But then, like, he doesn't see the irony in the fact that, like, it's ironic that you're a rival with a monkey kind of a thing, And he's like, no, fuck this guy, fuck this monkey. So that plays out too, and it's kind of a little joke that happens with that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so Pyro is an oversight. It's kind of like S.H.I.E.L.D. if they only specifically dealt with heroes and villains.
All right. So initially, this whole before picture kind of threw me off, but you have an explanation that this shows a group shot of the team before things hit the fan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Does that mean there's also going to be an after cover?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, exactly. So because of that, because we're doing this in 3 main volumes, for each one of the volumes, I want to have like a before picture, a during picture cover, and an after picture cover. So it shows how they grow as people. So in the first place, they're all just kind of like bright and like, oh yeah, man, let's do this. It's awesome because everything's great. You know, like how pretty much how heroes are right now in like Marvel and shit like that, where everyone's just like, oh, everyone's best friends, and we're gonna go eat fistfuls of fries at the diner afterward, and everything's great. And they can all be like chibi and shit like that.
Right.
And then as it goes towards the end of it, they become an actual legit real team through like real trial. So essentially the end picture is going to show the team, and they're all going to be like heroes that you legitimately can respect.
Fully realize.
But in the first place, it's without going into spoilers, that first thing there is like how Anne's in charge and everyone's just super positive. There's a reason why we show it like that. And originally, actually, I had I wanted to do a little like teaser, kind of a single page of like panels. And I wanted it to be almost like a spoof of Anne, being that she's like this comic book dork, you know, and she grows up and she's like all positive and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to change the world. So she graduates from the academy and she goes outside with a graduation paper and she does this like freeze frame jump in the air, like, yeah. And then she gets hit by a fucking bus.
And all the heroes are in the
frame.
bus.
On the frame, it's all the heroes in the bus. And it's like, it's one of those like never meet your heroes kind of thing. Because she's hit by like the real world that actually all the heroes are super fucked up. But that was back in the day when all the heroes were going to be super fucked up, until we realized that like they are still fucked up people, but there's a reason for it. So like with some of them where they've been super powered their entire lives, there's kind of a sense of narcissism that comes with that, where, you know, it's like, dude, I know if I was given the powers of a god,
oh no,
the moment I hit puberty, I absolutely would have been a supervillain. Period. There would have been all of that. So we actually end up addressing that, where there's some of them where they're so about themselves, and because of the thing that happens with Patriot's team, one of the big agreements they have that like the UN essentially has is that the heroes are not allowed to be on teams anymore. So now you have these heroes that grow up these super powered lives without anyone really able to tell them what to do, and they also can't learn to play on a team with anyone else because they're not allowed to be on teams. So you have just a bunch of like overpowered narcissists cruising around, and then we essentially take that character and we have to break that down and mold them into being a real hero by the end of the arc.
Yeah,
and we do. Like people get everyone in that. Actually, there's one dude in there named Lux, who's based on a buddy of mine, and one of his big things. So you see him in the red hoodie there.
All right.
Yeah. So he, there's an inside joke thing with him is that he, my buddy ended up having this big like full body infection thing that happens, and so this guy's arc is that he is possessed almost by it's a trans-dimensional symbiote almost, right? But it's the symbiote itself is actually like a form of, it's like a fungus, like an alien fungus. So it's literally that he has like a full body yeast infection kind of thing. And that's an inside joke actually with me and a buddy of mine who actually had a full body yeast infection. And but one of the things also is that my buddy wanted to be a firefighter for so long, and shit fell through for him. And now he's a paramedic, and it's a big happy ending. But with this character, he wanted to be an astronaut for so long. But what fucked it up for him is that he developed a drinking problem. So his actual alcoholism destroyed that chance for him. So he missed that chance. But because of that, the crew that took off got destroyed, and it saved his life. But the craft came back with that alien in it, right? So his actual power is that he's an empath, and he can feel emotions and everything. And that was kicking in, and he thought that he was just starting to hear voices because he was overstressed, so he drinks even more. So he shows up, and he watches the craft come back, and everyone's freaking out because everything's on fire and shit. And he goes, there's something in there, and I can feel it. It's afraid, and it's dying. And he approaches the thing, and that thing has a psychic bond to him because he sees that he's an empath. So that thing bonds to him to be able to survive. So it can't survive in our environment. So it essentially gets into his gut structure and into his cardiovascular system, and it protects him. So the power that he has to manipulate and create plasma that's this ridiculously overpowered, like almost like a Green Lantern-esque / like Johnny Storm type of a thing, is a defense mechanism that this alien has that bonds to him. So he's still, sadly enough, he still essentially hears voices, but now it belongs to this alien that only he can essentially hear. And because it's a yeast, he keeps drinking. It makes him crave alcohol and all that kind of shit too. So like it's like kind of an overpowered thing, and it's also kind of funny. But the arc that he has to go through is my buddy actually wanted me to put it in there when he had his battle with alcoholism and how essentially it destroyed his life and the choices he had to make to pick himself up and drag himself through that to become the guy that he is now, which is amazing. He really wanted me to put that in there. So that's one of the arcs that he has to go through, is you get to really see his fight through this addiction and everything as well. So every one of these characters has something that they're battling, that you see them pull themselves through, you know, and it's really real world stuff. Like the twins, they lost their parents, you know, and their parents were members of the original team. And Patriot, they grew up with Patriot being like, it's Uncle Patriot, he's our guy. But then they learned that their parents were killed, and it could have been Uncle Patriot that did it. So it's like, how do we now fill the shoes of our parents, because they're trying to be superheroes now too? How do we fill those shoes? But how do we trust this guy, you know, when it could be that he killed our parents? You know, so there's a lot of like really heavy stuff in there.
Snoots, what is your art style? Are you traditional, digital, or both?
Both. I'm trying to go full digital because it's more cost effective. But every once in a while, I do have to pull out a good old sheet of paper, pencil it out, scan it in.
Yeah, some things don't legitimately translate digitally as much as you really want. Yeah. So she'll straight up sketch things out sometimes.
That cover was done by another gentleman. I'm not a cover artist, but the before picture was done by myself because, like Mike was saying, we're going for like a chibi, hopeful, like, yeah, everything's great right before shit hits the fan.
We wanted it to almost look like a manga kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And so we went very like manga with it.
My style is, it's such a pain in the ass. I can mimic a lot. It's very hard for me to like have a distinctive style myself. I'm a portrait artist, so whatever I see, I replicate. And I've also been a fan of manga and anime for a long time. So whenever my style comes out, it tends to be more like that. So to answer your question, it's, I guess for issues, we're going for more of a realistic manga style.
Yeah, for issues, it's like a Western or a Westernized action manga that we wanted to do. But the majority of those times it's black and white, but we actually wanted to do it colored because she can color really well too. And I really wanted to put as much as we possibly can for the fans in there. We wanted to have it full color, fully, you know, immerse and whatnot. So it was my choice to have it be colored. Actually, in some sense, the black and whites that we did, like, they were killer, and it actually kind of hurt me to, you know, because with the black and whites, there's a lot of like the feathering and whatnot that you kind of have to take out whenever you're going to color it as well, because you do this like grayscale, the shading and things like that. But I really wanted that bright, vibrant color. There's also some things that kind of come into play with colors as well, not to go into any spoilers or whatever, but I really wanted to have that. But because of how well she can do black and whites too, we have another story that's going to be kind of like the other story I told you about. That's like an appendix story to the main thing. that one there is set. It's set like in the future past the ending of this one here, so you get to kind of see where everything is then, like an epilogue story. And that one I'm going to do I want us to do like a black and white and grayscale with like maybe one color cut in for like dramatic effect. You know what I'm saying? But that one there, legitimately, I want her to lean super heavy into that style because she does just killer, man. She does killer black and white.
Thank you. My original style, I did heavy in monochromatic. Like I said, I started off with charcoal. Well, it started with pencil, and then I became used to charcoal, which is monochromatic, black and white, and it's all shading. Everything blends. So transitioning to ink, although I can do it, I'll get really particular and I'll just get super focused, and it'll take me forever to do a black and white page. And issues we already discussed from the beginning, it was always meant to be in color. So the fact that it takes me so long to do a black and white page, and the fact that it needed to be colored, we're just simplify as much as possible. Do the American manga style, and let's just get it colored, and let's just get it where it feels most appropriate.
So from the get-go, Issues Volume 1 is going to be all color.
Oh yeah,
interiors and covers.
Yeah, what the interiors that you saw up there, that's the legit actual finished art that we're doing. So you get to see how it's going to be lettered, how it's going to be colored. We're trying to simplify a lot of the backgrounds as well. So not like totally just go cheap with it, but we're trying to simplify it in a way where it doesn't take away from the characters, because this is a character-driven story. This is a people-driven story.
Right.
Yeah. But there's a lot of little details in there that I didn't want to be lost, like in the like the reflection in his goggles up there of the city and everything. That was like hand done to where everything just kind of scales, like the buildings themselves line up with each other and whatnot. Yeah, that's actually, those buildings themselves actually line up with the on the first the main spread that happens up there. It's not a tracing of a city or anything of that nature. It's like legitimately we just developed a city because it doesn't exist. It's a city that we created. So we developed a city. It wraps all the way around. Because I'm from Monterey, and Monterey has this big bay and this big peninsula. And I remember, like, from wherever you are, you can look out and you can see that the whole city wraps around like that. So I really wanted to have this like West Coast. We have so many East Coast things based on like New York and whatnot. I wanted to have something that's a little bit more of like a West Coast kind of a city there. So we developed one, and like what you see in his goggles is legitimately a different angle of how that layout is. Like we developed the shit out of this. So we developed their compound they live in. We know exactly where all the buildings are in the city itself.
So this is reversed in the image of the land cityscape is actually reversed onto his lenses.
Yeah, this is actually a different angle. Like we have more of a layout there. So there's like two of the buildings that are on the original one that you can see there. But then you see how it spreads out and how it kind of wraps around there as well.
Oh,
yeah,
cool attention to detail there.
We put a lot of thought into little shit that people probably wouldn't actually get, but I know it's there.
Right.
Yeah.
So on this piece, it's a wraparound cover. So it's like kind of a sleeve or a cover around a cover.
It's a no. It's the what's going to print actually onto the cover, like the front cover and the back cover, is going to be one big picture that goes all the way around of these two here, and then we're also going to do that as a print as well. And that's just kind of us showing like this is a scene that actually happens in the comic as well. There is a pool party scene that happens, and we also just kind of wanted to show like just for the fans, like we're not against females being sexy,
right?
So we wanted to be able to put that in there, not like legit like over sexualized or anything, but there's a lot of fan service in there because we're here for the fans. So whatever fans are gonna want, man, we're wanting to put it in there.
Looks like a fisheye lens shot.
Yeah, we want to do a fisheye lens with it, and and she went through and colored all that and everything too.
So this is like, let me see. So does it work out to be like twice, like 211 by 17 pages connected together?
Yes.
Right, with a little bit in between for that spine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you open that up, it reveals this cover.
No, it just reveals the book. Like that would just be the cover.
Oh,
Yep.
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
isn't
so it's not like a dust jacket or anything. It's the legit cover. So when that one actually would be on, we have a version of it for the version that we have there is showing essentially the big main spread, and that's the print version. But we have another one for the cover version, so where it will actually still say Issues Volume 1 on it.
oh, so this doesn't actually appear at the beginning of the book.
No, that is just if that person, whoever backs it, if they want the like beginning, middle, and end covers, they can have that one there. If they wanted one more like a comic book cover, they'll do that one there, you know. And then if they wanted a more fan servicey cover, they can have that one.
Yep.
Oh,
I didn't want to. I didn't want to do a bunch of like. We had a lot of opportunities to do a lot more variant covers.
Yeah.
But one of the things that you get into with that is, I want to just do what people want. I don't want people to feel obligated to be like, man, they're doing 7 different variant covers. I need to get all 7. No, you're not obligated to do that. Just buy the shit you want, you know?
Right.
So that's why we only did the 3, and that's why they're so vastly different from each other as well.
And we also are offering them in print, so you don't have to buy 3 books. You can buy the 1 book, and if you want the other covers,
Yeah, you can do a print
get
with the other
prints.
ones as well. Everything's going to be signed and everything like that. And even like we have the 1 tier where it's to get a character sketch as well. And even with that one there, it's not an inside the cover sketch, where some people will do they'll have the cover be essentially like Bristol board, and on the inside they'll do a sketch, and that's awesome. If people like doing that, that's awesome. One of the things we want to do is just to go a little bit further, where we'll actually do a high quality, a real original art sketch. So instead of just being just something on your book, it's original art that is actually, you can frame it. You know, you can actually have it, you can frame it,
Right.
like without having to tear up your book all the time.
right.
That'll be signed. It's something that she's gonna do. We thought of like a little border and shit we're gonna put on it to actually just kind of make it special.
Yep.
You know, it's just customer service. It's just how much. The only thing it's really gonna cost us is time. That's all it is. You know, but if we can do it for you, we want to do it.
So on the physical perks, every perk comes with at least 1 signed copy of the book with the cover of your choice. All 3 covers are available, high quality signed 11 by 17 print. Oh, that's cool. 11 by 17.
Mhm.
Yep.
So I have to review the perks, but if you were, say, you wanted to get all 3 covers, then would all 3 of them be signed, or just
Yeah.
1 of 3?
Oh yeah.
All right. All character sketches are of a character of your choice, or you can get a sketch of yourself or a loved one drawn in the style of the comic. Every physical perk can also be selected as an add-on, so you don't have to worry about missing out on anything.
So also with the character sketch thing as well, where we say you can also get either or a picture of yourself or a loved one, because this is a love note to the fans and a love note to comics. The city that we have created, essentially, the residents of that city are the comic fans. They're supposed to represent the comic fans. So like, when we have the whole, hey, you be drawn in that, or you get a speaking role, that's you. Like, it's you literally by name. So if we have you, like, hey, if you want to get drawn or you want to get a sketch of you or a loved one, and we do it in our style, to me, that's actually canonizing you as a character in our book. That's legitimately, you're drawn up, you're done up as someone that lives in that city with us. So it's
all right.
by the end of it, by the end of the third volume, I want it to be essentially, if we've had enough customer interaction, I want it to be whenever you're walking through, you know, the characters walking through the city in the background, you can go, oh shit, that's me. Holy shit, I bought that perk way back in the first volume. They still put me in there. It's like, yeah, once you're in there, you're in there. You're part of the lore now. It's canon. You know? Yeah. It's legitimately all of us, you know.
So the backers are represented by the cityscape. Then in the massive battles, the fights between the heroes versus the villains, when there's all this damage done to the city, then it's actually backers' homes that are getting destroyed.
I fucking knew he was going to go there too. Oh yeah, so I'm going to have someone, they're going to get their business destroyed and they're going to be crying. No. Actually, you sneaky fuck. I had that.
You didn't back high enough.
You didn't get the insurance.
I know, dude. Oh my god, can you imagine them throwing a villain like through a storefront or whatever and be like, cheap son of a bitch? He only bought the one tier. That's what you get for backing at $25, you bitch. And he spits and walks away. No. That's fucking terrible.
See me? I backed at the villain tier.
I actually, I do actually address in the in the comic. We actually do address things being destroyed and different shit like that as well. It's kind of a little bit of a spoof of being a sanctuary city kind of thing. How like everyone wants to be super woke on the West Coast, and they're like, oh yeah, San Francisco is a sanctuary city, and yada yada. Since this is a West Coast city, they're a sanctuary city to super beings, and they thoroughly believe that whether or not that person may be seen as a villain, they can be rehabilitated, so on and so forth. So they have a deal with the government, being essentially the government is super woke, just like the comic industry. So the government goes, well, if you have X amount of people that are superpowered living in your city, you get a stipend for it, and if they end up destroying something, the government will totally pay for that thing to be rebuilt, right? So I'm kind of playing on that whole like super wokeness kind of thing. It gets shit on a lot. Like everyone's like, that's just coming out of taxpayer money, right? And everyone's like, don't even worry about it. So it gets dumped on. But yeah, that's some shit that happens. So when something that does actually get destroyed, like I have a buddy of mine who there's actually two of them and my wife. In the comic, they're going to end up owning like a almost like a little like bakery / kind of a deli thing together, because they all cook. They're all super like known really well for their cooking and all that kind of shit. And that at some point in time, I'm like, hey, there's a very real shit does go down in this book. It's not all going to be happy fucking hand holding and shit. There's a very real chance that this is going to get destroyed. And they're like, fucking do it. I'm like, all right, cool. But it'll be cool if it does get destroyed. But it is shown in the very first place. So I don't want people to shit on our book like they did with Zack Snyder, where it's like, you destroyed all of fucking Metropolis in Man of Steel, killed a bunch of people. With ours, it's very much like a lot of shit gets destroyed, but it gets rebuilt because the government's fucking woke. So yeah. And actually, we got the dude who talks about that, who delivers that line. We got another guy who already backed. We had a tier to be the mayor. And that tier, if you're the mayor through all 3 books. So you're just in. So we already got a mayor. I actually have a really cool scene with that. And because it is kind of like you can either be super serious. If you back as a villain and you want to be like, I am an Omega level crazy ass villain, I'll make it dark as shit. You want to have a dark ass thing? Cool. This guy goes, I'm like, hey, what's your deal? How do you want your mayor to be? And he's like, all I want, he needs to have a lobster lamp. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, on his desk, I want a lamp that's a lobster. And I'm like, is that like, do you have a picture of that or anything? Nope, artist choice. He just pulled it out of his ass. So I actually wrote a funny ass. So I go, okay, cool, that's kind of eccentric. So the mayor's gonna be super eccentric. So I wrote this like super eccentric scene for it. And I got another buddy of mine who wanted to like try to trip me up. This is what happens. So if anyone's listening, this is what happens. If you come at me and go, yeah, I can be anything. Well, what if I do this? I'll fucking do it. And if it makes you look like an asshole, you look like an asshole. We just have another crazy ass running around. I got a buddy of mine who he wants me in there. He goes, all right, check it out. I want to be an arms dealer.
Yep.
Totally cool. He goes, wait.
Yep.
I want to be an arms dealer who's into puppy play. So he wears the puppy mask the whole time, like the sexual fetish, the puppy play thing where you dress like a dog.
Yep.
Oh,
And I'm into puppy play, and I want to have an unhealthy obsession with Steven Seagal. And I'm like, done, fucker. He goes, really?
Yep.
I go, yeah, dude, you're in now. It's canon. You can't take it back.
And what's
You could have
great,
thought of anything. You could have thought of anything cool, but you wanted to try to trip me up. You wanted to make a joke. Nope, it's gonna happen now.
and what's great is that a few years ago, he's like, hey, can you guys write me into the comic? And we're like, yeah, sure, whatever. So we gave him like a fairly serious role, and then he came back, and I guess he forgot about it. And he's like, you know what? I want to be in your comic. I want to do the puppy play and all this shit. And we're like, okay.
Now, check this out. I actually had a role that was written, and I'm going to say this now. This is actually kind of a spoiler for Volume 2. Kind of. I had a... No, shush. This is for your viewers. I'm not going to say this again. I had a role written for this buddy of mine. Really good friend of mine, right? And it is a fucking badass role, right? And no, it's for the 3rd volume.
Yep.
Yeah, he's revealed in the 3rd volume. Badass role. I had it written for this cat, and it totally fit his thing, and it is just fucking cool. And it's one of the roles that kicks off the big main event for the end thing, right? Yep. I had it written for this dude, and I was gonna surprise him with it. And then he's like, I wanna be a puppy play pervy arms dealer guy with a neck tattoo, and I love Steven Seagal. And I'm like, all right, cool. So you know what I'm going to do now? That role that I wrote for you, I'm going to put that as a perk for Volume 3.
So someone else
gets
can
to be
have
the badass hero now, and you get to look like a fucking puppy. And so I'll probably actually have him, if we do like a big badass, like big knockdown, drag out fight scene, I'll probably have him like riding someone who looks vaguely like a big old fat Steven Seagal, just riding the dude into battle dressed as a fucking puppy. A big old leather puppy, because that's what he wanted. But you know what? Whatever people want to do, if it's funny or they want to be serious, or they want to do it as a tribute to their kid or to their dad or whatever the hell, I'll do it, man. If you want to be serious and you want to tell me like, hey, I want this to be serious, this is like someone I lost and I want it to be a tribute to them, I will be 100% down for that. But if you wanted to be like, dude, I just want to laugh, I want to show my kids, and they go, oh my God, he did that, totally do that too. I'm all about it, man. I'm all about cameo shit and just little cool stuff that's just immortalized. You know?
Like, even if no one else gets it, even if it's your inside joke, fuck it. Like we said, we are for the fans. If you want to be in it, if you want to have whatever crazy shit happen, yeah, let us know.
Yeah.
Right on. Let's see here. All about customer service. So you got stretch goals. One company is spot UV covers. Mm-hmm. That's where parts of the cover are like glossy.
Yeah.
And the rest is kind of a matte.
Right. Yep. So yeah, it's a matte finish, but then they actually do like the main picture of it essentially is going to be like glossy like that. So it just makes it look super fancy. I wanted to do that. I was actually really excited to be able to do that. So I'm glad we hit that goal.
Do you get to choose what parts of it get spotted?
Yeah.
Okay. Excuse me. Then at 2000, there's a fan art contest. Yes. All members will be able to participate in the fan art contest. Top picks will have their art featured as chapter breaks in the comic. Oh,
yeah. Yep. Yeah. So instead of having like we did a fan art contest, and I honestly thought we should have won, but we did a fan art contest actually for Battle Maiden Knucklebomb.
Oh, really?
Which was a great book, and she did it, but I think she might have done it a little bit too fan servicey. And I think they were like, we want to kind of make her look badass, but whatever. But we were in there, so you can look that up. But it gave me the idea of like, man, so the top picks there, they had essentially in the book where it shows the fan art. For us, I'm like, how can we do that? How can we take that one step further? So I go, hey, we have chapters. There's going to be chapter bumps anyway. We have a bunch of ideas for like spoof covers of like famous comic covers that we want to do. It's like a spoof in there, and those are going to be our things. But I go, wouldn't it be cool if we had that level of customer engagement where instead of just like, hey, our top 5 picks are going to be featured in the back of the book, we'll actually have your fan art be part of the official comic. Like we'll actually put it in as being a chapter bump. Like that'll be a real thing that everyone sees, you know?
And since our comic is set up like a compilation of comics where the chapter bumps look like variant covers, the fan art will end up being a variant cover within the book.
Yeah. So it's just one way to just be, we're for the fans, we're for fellow creators, or even people who at one point in time had a dream, like how my buddy wanted to do that comic with his brother, that I want to kind of show them that. I want, you know, if my dream is getting fulfilled, I kind of want your dream to be fulfilled as well, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And then you've got the $3,000 mark, trading cards at every perk.
Yes.
Yeah. So with that one, actually, that wasn't going to be a thing. I wasn't going to do cards in the first place because I've had a lot of experiences where you buy something and you really just want the book, but then you get a bunch of other shit too. And there's only so many times you can get a sticker, or there's only so many times you can get a bookmark or whatever. Because it's like, dude, I can only read one fucking book at a time. I already have my one bookmark, right? That's me though. I was talking to a buddy of mine who pitched an amazing fucking villain. So in this first volume is going to be a badass ice villain that this guy is, and that's a real buddy of mine. So if you ever see that, anywho, he goes, dude, trading cards, man. I'm into them. Bunch of people are into trading cards now. You got to do that shit. So I go, oh shit. So he was the first fan, the first guy who backed us that gave us an idea. So instead of just doing a like one card at a time thing, I wanted to go, fine, we'll do cards of all of our characters and do them like how the 90s X-Men cards where on the back you had all their stats and their power levels and shit, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, cool. If we hit that 3,000, we'll do all of our core characters for everyone because a fan said that's what they wanted. And that's how all of our stretch goals are going to be. If you back it and you tell us, hey, I backed a book one time and I really like that they did this. I'll go, cool. I'll put that as a stretch goal. I want to put that in there for you, you know?
Cool.
Yeah.
So there will be a card at the 1,000 mark, the 2,000 mark, 3,000 mark, 4,000 mark.
Yeah, it's literally a if we hit that 3,000, it's going to be all the cards for every perk. So we're going to do all of our core characters, all of them.
And then we've got 4,000. You tell us. We don't want to waste everyone's time and money with things our fans don't want. We want to know what you do want. Every stretch goal, 4,000 and up, is up to the fans. You guys tell us what you want to see, and we'll try to make it happen for you.
Yep.
All right. So action figures of the core team, right?
And I will hand sculpt every one of them.
Yeah.
Right.
Sculpted
Paper mache.
Snoots. Yeah. Exactly. That sounds like a good one.
That's why I said try. If we can.
All right. So let's check out the tiers here.
Yep.
So perk 1 is a book. You choose the cover.
Yep.
Let me see something here. So mail to you and Rich. So the choices are the first one, the second one, and the wraparound?
Yes.
Correct.
All right. So to recap, this one,
Right.
this one,
Yep.
and the wraparound.
Yep.
All right. So even with the wraparound, it's going to have like, is it going to be, excuse me, sorry.
Bless you.
Is it going to be a virgin cover, or is it going to have the all the branding and writing on it as well?
So with the wraparound, we have a way that we're going to do the branding, but it's going to be very minimal. So it'll say issues essentially in like a soft white in the clouds.
Oh wow!
It'll have the issue stamp, and then it'll say volume 1 in the water, but nothing else. So we'll keep it about essentially as virgin as we can.
Oh,
If we get feedback that people want it specifically to be virgin, because we had talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
But we tested out with the light branding, and it actually looks really good.
But
really
it's
classy.
a matter of sending it over to the printer and seeing where the wraparound aligns on the book, and then I'll make the branding according to that.
Yeah.
Where-
So we'll
where all
make
the
it look
margins
good. But
are.
if people go, I want this cover virgin, then we'll just do it virgin.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Then we've got 2 books, covers of your choice.
Yep.
All right. And it looks like you would save $5, 25, 50, 45. Yeah. Next one is Issues Volume 1 in a print.
Yep.
So you can mix and match. But earlier, I believe you said that virtually everything is also available as add-ons. So you're making full use of the add-on feature in Indiegogo.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, it took me a few days to set up this thing because I really wanted to be like as versatile as possible.
For sure.
So you can just get specifically just what you want, and you're not stuck with anything else. And you're not going like, "Damn, I really like that other cover. I wish I could have got that one too." I thought of everything. So buy what you want.
Yeah.
I like it when campaigns make full use of the add-ons because it increases your chances of paying less on shipping, and it saves you from having to do multiple backings.
Oh yeah, I thought of that one too, where because like the shipping, we're gonna ship it in tubes for like the prints and everything, right? And because that's more cost effective. But if you ended up wanting more of those things, like more of the prints, and you already backed one with the print, the add-ons on that one, say if you're getting that one there where it's volume 1 and a print, but you want the other 2 prints, those add-ons have free shipping, so they'll all go in the same tube anyway. So I already thought of all that, and I already thought of how much can be fit into a Gemini shipper or a Gemini mailer, and then also with the sketches as well. The size that we're going for, we made it to where that can fit in a Gemini mailer as well, so we don't have to have extra shipping.
Yep.
Because shipping right now is fucking ridiculous, especially if, like, we have a lot of fans internationally. She has like buddies in Australia and whatnot. We have a lot of fans, weirdly enough, in Russia and South America, love our stuff.
Wow.
And a lot of the comments we get is actually weirdly about the penis size of our characters. So that's
which is neither here nor there.
Yeah, it's neither here nor there. It's just something to throw out there. But if they want our stuff, a lot of people are like, well, we're not really shipping internationally. We totally will. Just I looked into the shipping, and it's pretty hardcore right now, but it's in there as an option,
At least 25 or more USD for shipping.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
Thanks for being here, Max Works.
Have a good night.
Got to go. Have a great night. Good fortune with your books.
Thank you.
Nice. Next is Issues Get Drawn In. Appeared in the comic. Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty reasonable. Jeez.
Yeah. So that's like literally like that's how serious we are about it. Like I've had a lot of people actually tell me that we lowballed the price on that way too much, because getting drawn in is like
thousands
normally
of dollars,
$400 to like $3,000 to get drawn into the book.
Yeah.
But realistically, one, who the fuck are we? Like, no one knows who the fuck we are, right? But two, like, we're already going to draw that scene. We're already going to draw a person in there. It's not hard for us to make that person look like you or whatever,
Right.
But also, we want people in our book. Like, I want that whole city to be filled with comic skaters and comics fans. And I want everyone to be like, oh man, I want this to truly be an event, a real, like, true, like, ComicsGate event that is happening in comics that represents all of us. Like, if we do have a big knockdown, drag out battle, I want to show like a scene or multiple scenes that have everybody in there where you can go, oh shit, I found me. There's me right there. I'm riding that, fucking dolphin or whatever. I want to do that. So I wanted to make it as cheap as I could without totally losing our ass, because all this money goes towards feeding us and paying our bills while we write the next book.
Yeah.
So,
right, exactly.
And Mike and I talked at great length.
Our ass, or lose our ass. What's up?
Yeah. And Mike and I talked of great length because ultimately it's me drawing these people in. And with my experience of, portraiture and whatnot, how difficult would it be? And at what point does it become too time consuming? And like you said, We already have the scene laid out. I already need to look up reference for whatever civilian's going to look like. So if that person provides that, that's just them getting inserted into the book. So to me, it's like, yeah, make it as cheap as fucking possible. So.
And I would like to add, for anyone who does actually see this and they want to get drawn in, it is not a get drawn in, you're a single panel, boom. What we're doing here is that if you're drawn into the comic, you live in that
You're a civilian.
city. You're a civilian in that city. Or you're a hero or you're a villain, depending on what we end up making you. But it's you. So you'll pop up. It's guaranteed that everyone is not going to be just a single panel, because there has to be people in the background anyway. There has to be people that people interact with. We're going to have to draw those things. So it actually, even if anything, realistically speaking, I'm probably fucking up saying this, but realistically speaking, it helps us as artists and creators if we already have a bunch of people's faces laid out in front of us. We go, yeah, here's this guy here, and he's talking to this guy. It helps us. We already know who we're going to draw. We have a
roster, if you will.
Yeah, exactly.
Of civilians.
It helps every creator to have a roster of the characters they're already going to draw. So if we have it down as these are all legitimately people that live in that city, that's what's up.
Yeah.
If you back this up here in the comic, you don't have to back it the next time or the next time after that. You live there. That's what we're doing.
The only thing you'd pay for in the next one is if you want a better tier. Like the first time you're like, hey, I just want to be a background civilian. And the next book you're like, you know what? I want lines. I want to be a character. I want to be in a fight.
Yeah.
At that point, you'd
like that.
buy a better perk. But other than that, you're a civilian. You're in it. You're in the lore.
Yeah, you live there. We get to talk shit.
Yeah.
So
we can't guarantee what happens to you, but yeah.
How do you respond to someone who might say, all right, so Snoots is obviously damn good at portraiture. How do I know that they're not going to take this book, turn around, and sell our portraits to the government for tracking purposes?
Why the fuck?
my response to that would be, our podcast is named the Black Flag Podcast for a reason. If we could successfully go be pirates and not have government at all, we would. So we would not sell your information to the government.
Oh yeah, no,
that's just not in our principles.
We're card-holding citizens of Sealand, dude. We're like legitimately, we have a dual citizenship to Sealand. We are as close as you can get to pirates with us without us actually being on the water. Yeah. No, there's no way we're selling anything to the government. This is just because we love comics and we love people who love comics, and we just want to do something really cool. All these tiers and whatnot is really, I thought of when I was a kid and I loved comics. What's the super cool shit that I thought that I would like to see, but could never afford?
Yeah.
So the reason why we made things so cheap is like, even now, we're struggling fucking creators. I can't afford the shit, dude. Look at the people who are making comics right now. I absolutely would love to be like, oh, be one of the survivors in Cyber Frog Wreck Planet or whatever. Like, yeah, I want to do that, but I don't have fucking $5,000 that I can just throw out there. But if anyone felt like that, I'll put you in here. It's not the same. I'm obviously not Ethan Van Sciver, but I want people to be able to get a little bit of that dream that they had of being in the comic.
So, if I may, with the I was also a broke kid growing up, to where like any opportunity like this, I couldn't fucking afford it, although I dreamed of it. And now we're looking at other creative heroes where it's like the dude who invented Bane, one of his tiers is buy me a beer.
Yeah.
Like, let's be real here. We all just need to feed ourselves at the end of the day. So with our perk, instead of just buy us a beer, it's have yourself inserted in the comic as well. Fuck it. Like, why not you get a perk out of it too?
I will buy alcohol with it.
Oh yeah.
for the record, it will. You're definitely feeding my habit. We'll draw the shit out of you, but I'll be fucking drunk. But okay, so just for real though, and she can attest to this. When I first started really talking about, man, we should draw people in, we should have a tier to do this and this, right? I had this weird like kind of daydream that I had where like one day we'd be at a con at a fucking convention somewhere doing a little book signing thing, right? And I pictured like a kid, like the age that I was when I got into comics, and I was super poor as a kid. And I picture like he'd come up and like, to have a thing signed and go, hey, I was going to get a book signing, but I see that it's like, $20 or whatever. I don't have that. And like, I really wanted to be drawn in, but I really love your book. I just want to let you know that. And I picture myself being like, dude, I get that. You know what? Fuck it. Have a seat, man. Bullshit with us for a second. You sign the next one. Like just totally hanging out with a fan. I had this like weird, just kind of daydream of us doing that, of being like, just hanging out with fans and be like, you know what did you like about it? Like I'll put down, hey, what do you want me to write in it? Instead of just being like, hey, what's your name? All right, cool. Get fucked. They take off. I have like 30,000 people in line. I never envisioned myself ever having that many people in line. I picture like 3 or 4 people that I probably already know and had emailed specifically to say, hey, show up to this con so I don't look like a fucking loser. And then maybe 2 other people showing up. But that one little kid was like, man, I never had the money for that. But your book kind of helped me out in another time or whatever. I'm like, dude, you're going to star in my next fucking book. Like, for real. Like, I picture that kind of shit.
Yeah.
I'm so like, I may be such an asshole in real life, but I'm so kind of like squishy when it comes to fans. Like I really want to be like, there's a little kid out there that needs to see this story and needs to see himself in these characters. And I want to put that in there. I want to have him down by name. Actually, if you you're probably getting to it already, but when you get down to the whole, to the tier of your child's art in the comic, that one is, it sounds, there's no way to write that without it sounding super weird. But that is actually a perk that is so close to my heart, namely because like anyone who has kids, their kids get to that point where they're drawing. They're like, oh man, here's this thing. And my daughter, she draws things that like she knows her daddy loves and she knows her big sister loves. And she's so like, oh man, look at this. I drew this. It's not really good though, whatever. And I'm like, dude, that's awesome. Be proud of that. That's a great picture, man. So I have this tier where if anyone has a kid and they love comics or whatever, and they draw a like a little kid fan art for our characters,
that's not in the art contest. Like,
yeah, it's
super little
nothing
kid.
to do with our contest. It's a tier. It's literally a one-time thing. One time. It is in all 3 books, period, where it's actually a kind of a turning point that I have written in for our characters, and I will have it to be where, if it happens, if not, I'm not going to use the scene. If not, if no one does it, but if they do it, I will have it be where they literally receive by mail the picture that kid drew for them. They'll say it by name, thank them for that, and go, wow, people actually like us. This kid. They'll put it up on their fridge and it'll be there, and it'll be legitimately a real true turning point for them within the book, because I want to see at least one kid become a massive comic fan because their shit was featured in a comic.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see that. If I totally fail and I become the next friggin' Tommy Wiseau of comics, where I blew all of my money trying to make this comic that totally bombed and is like a weird cult thing now, and I work at some Rite Aid somewhere. If still that kid still sees his shit, that's cool. Because I see that in my own kids. My own kids see that, And I think that any parent that, if they ever feel like the way that I feel, where it's like, even though you realistically as a parent that your kid's art is still kid art, but to you it's like, that's the coolest thing ever, because that's the first time they ever did that. It's the best thing that they've ever done. Right. I want to feature that and actually have that type of an impact with our characters. So when that kid grows up 20 years from now, they might crack open that book with their kids and look at that and go, that's my art, man. And then their kids are comic fans. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a real tier that I have in there. Right. And that's truly where I want to take that. Like, I'm just all about like the next generation of comic fans. Oh. Like, whether or not we bomb is, I would prefer not to bomb. Right. But whether or not we bomb, it's not about us, It's bigger than us.
Yeah.
So with the appearance, oh jeez.
Bless you.
Oh man. So the appear in the comic tier, it says we'll even put your name in a special appearances section in the back of the book.
Yep.
Which we'll sign and send to you with the cover of your choice. So, am I understanding right? You're going to, everyone who gets in on this tier, you'll like print off physical versions of the thank you page, the special appearances section.
So we have in the back of the book, there will be a special appearances section where it's like a special thanks. So everyone who actually appeared, you'll have the thanks section, then everyone who actually appeared. And I'm putting down their name, and I'm kind of wanting to put down like what page they're on too, just so they can put that in there. But then that'll be in everyone's book. And then so you'll still get the book and you'll still get the cover of your choice and whatnot, but
so this isn't like an add-on.
You'll be added to it.
It's you get to be in the book and you get a book. It's all one big ass.
You get a
package.
book and you get your name will appear in that section in the back of said book. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So it's not a separate physical sheet that was the special appearances page. All right, cool.
I mean, if someone wants, like, if you want me to print something out and be like, you appeared in said book,
so you
this
can like
is the page
frame
you
it.
were on.
No, I mean,
I'll do that. Fucking.
I just misunderstood. I was. That's the way it came across to me as I was reading it. So it was just my lack of comprehension, you might say.
You're good.
Let's see. Book and character sketch.
Yes,
so
correct.
The book.
So that's the book, and then the out of book. Like I'll use a Bristol board or something and do a character sketch or a sketch of loved one, like we mentioned earlier, one of our characters or whatever the hell you want. Just do something up real quick and send that with the book. So character sketch and book.
Yep. And that person, whoever we end up actually doing a sketch of, if it is a person that is not already one of our characters, they will be canonized as being part of the official issues universe as well.
All right. So since it'll fit in Gemini mailer, it's probably going to be just under 8.5 by 11.
It's
Correct.
going to be 10 by 6-ish.
It's
like
going to be
the size of
approximately
the
size
comic
of
book.
a comic.
Yeah.
But we actually looked up, because just in case certain people would want to have it framed, we looked up certain sizes of frames.
Uh-huh.
And there are comic book sized frames, but there's other frames that are cheaper to get, like on Amazon. So even then, we actually still thought of like, well, why force them to buy this kind of frame when they can get this one and it's a little cheaper, it's a little bit readily available, so we're going to do it at that size.
Yeah.
So it'll be the approximate size of a comic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you want to get like what the size of the sketch is going to be like 10 by 6 roughly, but if you want to get like an 8 by 11 and just put like a mat board behind it, it'll fit.
Yeah. And that, like, for being $55 for that's the book and original art, like, I actually have right now, I'm dying for it to come in because it's one of my favorite artists. I have a bunch of original art coming in, and I spent my ass getting that fucking art, and I realized exactly how expensive original art is, man. But with this, it's like, again, I'm trying to put out, like, we understand that no one knows who we are yet, you know? I really hope that people give us a chance to get our names out there. But again, I don't want to charge too much. We're not lowballing just to get the sales. We're just showing like, yeah, I understand you don't know who we are yet. If you trust us and you back us, we're not going to let you down, you know? So right now it's cheap enough. So like now is the time to get in on it.
Excuse me. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when it's your first campaign and you're relative unknown, then there's that challenge because nobody's got experience seeing you fulfill and
Right.
stay in touch with the backers. But once you get this under your belt, people will be more familiar with your product. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, well, if we have a lot of if there's a lot of fans of Pornhub out there, they should know who I am.
Jesus Christ.
So just look up Big Papa Smurf.
No, don't do that.
I'm joking.
You're trying to direct all the traffic to your campaign to Pornhub, so they get all the money.
Nobody pays for Pornhub.
Well, during the pandemic, it's supposedly free. I hear, yeah.
Yeah, I might have come across that as well. It's customer service, man.
Yeah, so you can get all 3 books, all 3 covers, the
Yep.
before picture, the entitled variant, and the stunning and brave wraparound, all for $65.
Mhm.
Now, is it Indiegogo that's already kicking into discounts because you're so early in your campaign? It seems
it forces you to do that. So when you set up a campaign, it actually forces you to estimate like what's the retail price, and I'm like, I don't fucking know. I just told you 65, man. That's what I want to charge for it. Like, don't I dictate the retail price? But no, they have you put that price in. So
right, but you're funding right now. Are you like in the first 30 days, or are you in the second 30 days?
we're in the first 30 days.
All right, because I didn't think any kind of discounts would kick in until towards the end of the 30 days, or even.
I don't know. They had us do it right off the bat.
Well, I know they have you plan it out from the beginning, but it seems kind of peculiar for it to already be discounted so soon into the campaign. But I don't know I don't know the particulars.
Neither do we.
I had no idea. I was like, yeah, hey, I'm gonna set up that campaign today. Fucking like 4 days later, finally done with it. God, that was a friggin' hellscape, dude. It was terrible.
And then we've got get a speaking role.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not just like a throwaway panel. It's a few panels. You have
Yeah.
a conversation.
So with that one there, again, it is you are canonized as being one of the residents of that city. The speaking role will be a legit, like, people will have to pay attention to what you have to say. Because even like the get drawn in, I may have that person saying something in the background or whatever, but a speaking role will be legitimately you're talking to someone, so it's not a page you skim through kind of a thing.
Gotcha. All right. So next one is fight a hero.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
So you
We have
get
a few scenes lined up for those.
So I have I'm obsessed with I'm obsessed with flow. I'm obsessed with the way pages break down, the way panels break down, and also how long, like how many pages you go through without something exciting happening in a book. So even though this book is it's a lot more like have you ever read Invincible?
Invincible?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Oh, it's tits. It's really good. But Invincible has a lot of story. It's very much it has a lot of action and blood and crazy shit, but it spans over like a few years and has a lot of story to it. So there'll be like 3 or 4 chapters where nothing really happens, but it builds the character. And sometimes it gets a little weird and wordy. But with ours, because we're only doing like those 3 volumes, I want to have what Invincible did, where you build the world, you build the characters, you actually have them living real lives, but then also to incorporate that rule of not going so many pages or so many chapters without something exciting happening, right? So with Fight a Hero, I already have a few scenes planned out, and those scenes, I have a short version and a long version of those scenes. So depending on how many people we have backing that, you could be either, now, because of the rule in there, there's no superhero teams. So you can be a rival hero who, like, that person patrols a specific turf, and, like, maybe our hardware hero is stomping on his turf or whatever, or they don't like each other because we're all a bunch of dickheads. Or there's villains. So I actually have, there's one scene that's actually a special little nod to Dark Knight Returns. And I have one scene, it's a big old brawl that happens.
Don't spoil it.
I'm not saying spoilers. But the scene's in there because of a nod. It's not the scene itself is not the nod. It's because of a nod. The actual setting is. And it's a big brawl. So we have a few big brawls where I'm like, man, there's a few villains that I really want to show because this is a sanctuary city that they live in. And they're really proud of that. So there's a lot of people that went there because they're villains or they're ex-villains or whatever. They're very opportunistic heroes in it. And if you end up fighting a hero, you can essentially, I need your name, I need your face, and then whether or not you want to be a hero or a villain, and then pick a power for me.
A power.
Yeah,
we're not 3 with like I can fly and I'm invincible and
I've had a dude legitimately just goes, hey, so my nickname is such and such, and I would turn into a bear, and I'm like, awesome, I could totally do a werebear type of character, and he goes, but I also want to manipulate fire, and it's like, well,
pick one.
That's a real thing too. Like, and I was like, well, shit, man. Okay, look. So since I didn't make it clear in the first place, because Indiegogo doesn't let you just totally ramble, I didn't make it clear. Okay, but from here on out, it's a pick a power or pick a couple powers, and I'll choose one of them. But I promise not to let you down. Like, you're not just gonna go out like a bitch. It isn't like you're gonna like lunge at the character. They're gonna trip you and you fall. You know, you fall and you land on your nuts, and you're like, oh no, I landed on my keys and went through my balls. No, I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna humiliate you. It's gonna be a really cool, kick-ass scene. So the people, we have 2 out of 10 already chosen for pick a hero.
Yep.
Both are to fight a hero. Both of them are badass scenes already. And it's a legit, like, this is going to be for a minute, right? And then I'm actually I want to incorporate, if anyone gets a, like, speaking role kind of a thing, you may end up actually being the person who, like, does the whole, like, say one of the heroes jumps at him because of the big brawl, and the person goes, hey, watch out, and, like, pushes the hero out of the way and essentially saves their life because the villain's doing some shit. Right. I really want to have these scenes, right? Because to me, as comic book fans, we're all in this together. As ComicsGaters, we're all in this together. So in the comic, I really want to have it be everyone in that city, they're all in this together, right? So I have a lot of incorporation happening between the different tiers and between the speaking role and the fighting hero. But I promise that it's not a like you're fighting him on the bus. Hey, I've seen you. Get fucked. And he's like, shut up, faggot. And then he's like, oh, well, this is my stop. And he gets off the bus. Like, no, it's a real, like, someone's getting thrown through a wall, that kind of shit. It's going to be really cool. Like, I really want to make it fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely not any throwaway lines like, oh, there's a bird, there's a plane, there's that guy.
And again, I'm just to throw this out there too, like, just not so I don't get your channel fucking banned or anything. I am not homophobic. It is.
Which is what a homophobe would say.
I was just raised by old people. It's just some shit I say whenever someone's being a pussy, I guess. I don't know, man.
Neither is he misogynist.
Jesus Christ. We are the.
Oh, don't start.
We are the superior sex. Let's not.
Don't start.
Oh gosh.
Jesus Christ. No, I'm not.
So you could be a featured character in this one.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. So the featured character. So I have had 2 people so far. 2 people have chosen that perk. And I've had to refund both of them. Because both of them were actually, they were friends of mine. And they were like, ooh, I want to stag this up real quick because there's only one. It's going to be super cool. And I'm like, no. Actually, this is a character that is supposed to be like the character that you love to hate. It's supposed to be he's a rival agent to, or he or she, excuse me. There's a rival agent to Anne because everyone else has a rival except for the main character, the main agent. So this is a character who essentially sits there and talks a bunch of shit because Anne is only 26 years old, has 0 experience, and is way in over her head. So this is a character that essentially is there to talk shit and is there to keep that character grounded, but it's kind of a character you love to hate. So I had friends back it already, and they wanted to be like, oh man, I want to be this person, and it's super cool, and we're holding hands, and I'm like, I have no characters like that. I'm sorry. If you're in it, something shitty's gonna happen.
So this character is not like you get to design the path of this character. It's a set path. You choose to be on that path.
That character
the people who bought this were like, I want to do this, and we're like, no, this is what that character does. You should have asked before you bought it.
What they wanted literally was in the speaking role where it's like, oh man, I want to be one of the best friends. There's things back to speaking role, man. I'll make you as being one of the childhood best friends if that's what you want.
Yep.
It's fine. This one here is a character that it's vital. It's actually a vital character within the first story, and they're guaranteed to be within at least the first 2 stories. At least they're guaranteed because I already have it written out, right? But this one here is if you have a knack for talking shit, if you have a knack for cutting down someone who might be a little bit too big for their britches,
Yep.
This is that character. Because it's not like you're not a villain. You're not like totally, I'm just going to make you an evil shit and we're just going to shit on you the whole time. No. You're like a character that's just like, why are you so fucking full of yourself? You know, like you're the character that's going to say that. Like, look at you. You're 26. You got this job because your dad was an agent. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. You know, that kind of shit.
I wonder if there's maybe a way to rephrase that tier to try and prevent people from buying.
The issue with it is because it was already bought and refunded, we can't edit that tier now.
I tried. I didn't actually realize that because I didn't want to give these spoilers away about the character, right? So I phrased it very vaguely. But then I had friends, very well-meaning friends, who backed it. But because I was like, damn, I need to really put this down. This is like, hey, be that character that you love to hate, right? Be that Newman
Asshole.
to our Seinfeld kind of a thing, you know, where he's not a villain, he's just a dickhead.
Yeah.
So that's our
really
Newman
good way
character.
to put it.
That's
Yeah,
literally our Newman character.
That is
I tried to change it, and Indiegogo won't let us now because someone has backed it already. So all I can do is delete that and create a new one, if anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think that might be the way to do it. Delete or hide it, and then create a new one slightly worded differently. Because especially the heading reworded. Because if the description or heading matches exactly, then I think that's one of the things that they force you to change. And that's why on some tiers you see such and such tier number 2.
Yeah.
Because they had to change it, change the name of the tier just slightly.
Yeah.
But I think it might be better for your sanity if you did do that, because the way it's described, I would be on board with your friends and do the same thing.
Right. And that's like, I didn't want it to be I didn't realize that it was going to be like someone like my 2 friends too. The 2 friends that backed it are probably the absolutely sweetest people on the planet. So if I was like, oh yeah, totally, you get that thing, and then I write him in as being a total asshole, I would just break their heart. So I was almost thinking like, you know what, I'll make this tier, and then I'll make another tier that's like the same price or whatever, that is be featured as an asshole or whatever.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking of maybe doing that too, but I didn't want to give too much away is what it was. So the only reason why I even said what this was is because people kept backing it with like good intentions.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, not everyone can just be super happy. There has to be one person who sits there and just talks shit. It's like, this is that character.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's much of a spoiler to have a character like that. You'll find a lot of stories have someone to bounce off of, for the protagonist to bounce off of. So I don't think it's, something that would necessarily be a spoiler at all. So just something to think about. Here's that one you were talking about. Excuse me a moment. Let me close the door. It's getting chilly.
Oh, you lucky bastard.
Okay. Right in. Have your kids art featured?
Yep.
So the one question I had about this is, all right, so you got one tier for that. So someone sends in the art, I presume they mail it in, or what? They scan it in and then email it?
Yeah, they can either scan it in, email it. We can do a physical mail if they want to take a picture of it. If it's a good enough picture, we can always take from that. because our art is digital, so we pull things up essentially. I can have that as a layer. We can go over it, and actually ink it in. There's a lot of ways to do that.
All right. So you received the piece of the children's artwork.
Correct.
And then did you say you'll take that image, lay on, add a layer, and then put thank you, some kind of customized thank you note, and then print it off and mail it back to them?
No. So what we're going to do is we're going to essentially take that art, and essentially as that child had mailed it to us or emailed it or whatever, we're going to have our heroes receive that mail at one point in the book. They're going to receive that mail, and they're going to go, wow, like we have a fan, like someone actually believes in us. Yeah. So like our heroes, especially in the first book, so it's super crucial to actually happen in the first book. Hopefully it does happen. But in the first book, our heroes are at their lowest point. So at this point, they're building their way up. They're learning to be a team. So if they receive art, they go, wow, someone believes in us. Someone saw that spoiler thing that we did. They believe in us, and they put it up on their fridge, right? They're going to name that person by name, like, hey, Johnny from fucking Minnesota or whatever. Sorry about the riots. here's our art. I'm sorry, that was dark. But they'll put it up there, but it's going to be featured. Literally, it's going to be a thing in every book. And I actually have a super spoilery thing that I have in mind to be for that. But in the actual book, during the special mentions, we have, I wanted to anyway, put we have special mentions for whoever backed it, appearances in the back of the book, and then you have essentially one little special thank you written for that child specifically. And then when we sign the book, it'll essentially be signed to that person and their kid. For that book specifically. I really I'm a dad. I have 3 kids, and I am a questionable parent, but I love my children. And I really want to be like, what would totally blow my child's mind? You know what I'm saying? I want that to be a thing. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like when they get older, they show their kids like, hey, what got me into comics? This shit. Yeah. This got me into comics, but this guy, little does everyone know, he died homeless under a bridge. Can you believe that shit? Like I want them to say that later on.
Jesus Christ.
What?
No. Wait
I
until dark.
Not a bridge. I wouldn't be under a bridge. But anyway. Point being, it is a very special thing for me, and because I do have a heart, I have a heart for kids. I really do.
He does.
And heart for kids because when I got into comics and the shit that was happening with me, I just thought of what would have really picked me up at that point in time when I was a little kid. Like what would have been some shit that I would remember to this day, And that's the kind of shit I was thinking about. And I want to give any of those parents out there who have that kind of a heart like I do, I wanted to give them a chance to do that for their kids.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. That's going to be a legit tier, man. Legit. Like I'm not going to let that person down.
Okay. So we've got a video chat with us tier.
Yes.
You want a speaking role but don't want to get stuck saying something lame? This is the perk for you. You get a private video chat or QA session, Q&A, with the creators of issues where you can pitch any lines or jokes you have for your character to say. You'll also get a signed copy of the book and your name in the special appearances section.
So what I need to do with this is this is another one I need to change the at least the main heading of it so it doesn't say video chat. It's more so if you want a speaking role, but you want to actually you had a good idea, you wanted to pitch a line, you wanted to pitch a scene. So I want to actually have that say pitch a scene, where you'll call in with us, and it's not like, hey, you're paying $200 to video chat with us because we're fucking amazing. No, we call in, we do a private video chat, and you go, I had this idea where what if I did this and this, and your character did this, and yada yada. And I go, yeah, okay. Well, in this part of the book, my character's this like a super spoilery thing that person will get. Like in this part of the book, my character's doing this and this. This character's doing this and this. So your guy, okay, cool. So you work out this scene with us, and I'll put that scene in the book. So your character's in there, you're talking, you're doing some shit. And I have a few things already, like throughout that big ass city that we have. We have it actually sectioned out where there's like a business district, a shopping district, the
harbor.
The harbor. There's the suburbs, all that kind of shit. Mm-hmm. So depending on where that is, we already have it kind of mapped out. So if you go, oh, if this person is this and this, or they're like, hey, watch out, that building's gonna fall, and they, knock you out of the way or whatever the fuck. I kind of already have thought about that because it's been 7 years that I've been thinking about this. So I already know how I would make that look. So if someone wants to pitch those scenes, we can work those in there. So that's why I'm saying, like, we're shooting for hopefully up to about 100 pages. John Malin, since you're gonna talk to him tomorrow, one of the big things that he actually says is that on your first thing, like, don't go over like 50 or 60 pages. And I was really truly hoping when I was on his show that he would not ask me that, because he would just be like, well, you're obviously a fucking failure because you're trying to go way further than that. But with everything we already had written out for volume 1, I've cut out so much of the fat of it. We had this whole other fucking scene involving a mall, but then we realized, like, who the fuck goes to the mall?
Oh, I'm so glad we cut that scene.
So we're already cut that out. So, like, everything we have right now is already still going to be about 100 pages at least, and probably 120 if everyone buys these perks in there, because I want to be able to give people, like, not just one panel. You're going to be in there probably on the page, right? So probably about 120 there. Yeah, we have it's going to be a long ass book, man. But I really want to show all the stuff we have to show. But I want to actually give, like, if you're putting money in this and you want to be in the comic, I want you to be recognizable in the comic.
And speaking
and you can't do that in just one panel.
Yeah. Speaking of recognition, shout out to Ryan and Bear currently watching. Apparently, Ryan is cracking up right now.
Is he?
Apparently.
Why?
Because the speaking role that Bear backed. He's like, fuck it, I should have done it anyway.
Okay, so that buddy of mine, really? God damn it. Yeah. Okay, so if he is watching, Ryan, I'm sure Bear did not ask you, but did you want to be in the book? If so, she already paid for you to be in the book. So she backed the featured role in the first place and was like, I'm just so upset that you didn't put me in the book. I'm like, bitch, it was a surprise. And I wanted to put you in the book anyway. So she backed it. I didn't want to make her be an asshole. So then she backed a speaking role. And then she goes, okay, well, I'll just have that be for my son, Thomas. I'm like, your fucking son doesn't speak.
He's like 3.
Your son doesn't talk, man. How are you going to do a backing role? So anyway, but I did actually, for anyone actually listening that isn't a close personal friend that we have emailed to be on this fucking show personally, anyone else who doesn't know us, the speaking role specifically, she got a speaking role for her kid. I actually wrote out a fucking scene just to show the kid as not only a character, but having powers. That's how serious I take the be in our book or back a speaking role or be featured. Like, I legitimately want to show your shit. It's less like a regular comic book and more like a My Hero Academia where everyone's got a bunch of shit going on, kind of a thing, and everyone is featured. I really want to show that. Yeah.
Cool deal.
But don't compare me to My Hero Academia. My self-esteem will go down. So he's a fantastic artist.
He's a really good artist, yeah.
So the tier that's already been sold out is the mayor one.
Yes.
The one who wanted the lobster lamp.
He wanted the lobster. Man, he should have thought way more about that character. So I had a few different types of mayor archetypes in mind. And he was like, the only thing I want is I want a lobster lamp. So I go, So me being the person who overthinks everything, I go, what type of a person would want a lobster lamp? Oh, a complete fucking psychopath. So I wrote him as that character. So he's this super eccentric, like Howard Hughes kind of a fucking character who may or may not be railing his hot secretary. Yeah, so we have that in there too.
Excuse me. It dawned on me that I somehow missed a lot of the chat messages from Max Works, so I'm just going to read them now.
Oh, our one guy. Yeah, our one viewer.
Didn't he say he was going to bed?
Well, yeah, but these are messages I somehow missed in the midst of my spamming the chat with my advertisements for the book. I am on YouTube, but I know how to behave. I like streams to kind of meet new people. Losing the mind on election year is by design. Yeah. Hey, cool trailer.
Yeah.
Enough talk. Now I want to see those images.
We fucking never showed the images.
No, we did.
The paintings are pretty good.
Oh, that means he got on your page. Yeah.
Yeah, when you were showing off my Instagram, sir.
And then that's when he left. I'm sorry, Max Words, for not reading them in order or in a timely fashion. But if you catch this on replay, at least you'll know that I did, in fact, read them all.
We got to you eventually.
Yep.
Eventually.
So that's pretty darn cool. Let's replay the trailer one final time.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Hello? Yep, it's good. Flick, flick, flick. All right, it's working. We're doing a trailer for a comic? How's that work? All right, whatever. In a world marred by personal politics, where heroes have been reduced to a novelty, one team of superpowered misfits will set out to right the wrongs of their pasts, and once again remind the world what it truly means to be a hero. A young special agent assigned to investigate a job, searching for the truth of her father's death. What the hell is going on here? The most powerful being ever known, hoping to regain the trust of the country he loves, accused of murder, best friends trying to maintain a sense of justice under the eye of an easily manipulated public, Cavalier twins trying to honor the legacy of their fallen parents. ... and a monkey. The hell is this garbage? Issues. Volume 1. Only on Indiegogo. Nailed it.
Awesome. All right.
He sounds just like him, though, doesn't he?
Funny stuff.
Like Will Arnett. He
Yeah.
sounds just like him, man. Love it.
Oh, you got another backer.
Hey, all right. It was Max. It was the Max guy.
So yeah, 1484. That's 148% of the flexible goal.
Yep.
So you guys are fully funded now.
Oh yeah.
And Indiegogo will promote your book more. That's cool.
Yep. Very exciting.
So your goal was 1,000. I know you guys are on a very, very tight budget. How do you manage on a $1,000 budget? I mean, I imagine most of that's going to go towards shipping, right?
Yeah. So pretty much with production and shipping, it's going to be about half of what we end up actually making. So, and then there's fees for Indiegogo. So anything else it's going to buy a lot of ramen essentially for the rest of yeah. But like, I don't know. I initially set aside a certain amount of money to take off the next like year from work, and then I was like, regardless of But that was like the end of what we had. So that was wherever we are at the end of that. Then I'm going to hand it over to Snoots. I will have to go get a job again. I'll go back to work, and then I'll just come back and like edit and write and whatnot after work. So the next couple of years is going to be pretty insane. But the initial plan was to try to knock out as much as we possibly can during that initial year. And there's a lot that goes into making comics, man. We had to buy like the computers and whatnot that we use are like pretty friggin' cool, but they're like super expensive. But it was very much a like, hey, what is going to give the best result? Fuck it, let's buy it. Let's just do it. So we have these like pretty kick-ass computers, so everything's going to be really good. The art's going to be really good and whatnot. And that's all for supplying the best comic that we possibly can. And then at the end of it, it's all just about the fans. If they want to see it, they want to see it, and we'll deliver it. And if I have to work, go back to work 8 hours and come back and put in another 8 hours doing this or another 10 hours or whatever, then that's what I'm going to do.
So the initial investment was him, his own pocket, and from here on out, whatever we get from this comic, it's paying for production, and then it's just our career from here on out. Like, we already got the launch money that was out of our own shit. So from here on out, it's just making issues. And then whatever further projects we want to make from that, it's just going to snowball into those projects.
Yeah, all of this backing money is literally, you're buying your comic, but you're literally supplying us with the means to be able to produce the next comic.
Yeah.
I backed the original thing. I funded the original release. So everything here is just going forward to the next one. And,
Wow.
I really hope it takes off. Not because I want to be like, super rich and this super like next legend of things. This story has gone on for so long. It's been refined for so long. Everybody who hears it is like, this is amazing. This is really good. You gotta get that out there. And it's not actually like anything we've had before, because we haven't had the comic industry become what it is now. We haven't actually had that yet, so this is a reflection of that. So this is a whole new story. And in comics, we haven't had a whole new story in a long time. So this is something that really needs to happen. And
it's a labor of love. So we're going to do whatever it takes to make it happen. So whatever backing we get from here on out, it's just, you're helping.
Yeah. It's whether or not we end up crossing that finish line on the third book, dragging a friggin' broken leg and a busted liver past that finish line, we're going to do it. We're going to get it out there. So we're either going to end up becoming, if we don't become famous, which we probably won't, we will end up becoming infamous 20 years in the future of the comic that almost was, or that the comic that was but no one knew about kind of shit. Which is that there's a huge chance of that happening, because there's a lot of comics that are super famous now.
Knock on wood, don't
weren't
jinx
really. There's some big comics that are like big now that really weren't shit back in the day.
Yeah.
Until they realized that, wow, that writer saw some shit that we didn't see back then. We were all blinded by bullshit, and then now you read it and you go, wow, yeah, this dude knew what was going on, man. Yeah. Like Watchmen again. Watchmen was huge, being a good comic, but back in the day it was like, yeah, whatever. But now, like in the last 10 years or whatever, Watchmen gained this huge amount of ground.
Right.
There's a lot of people that like it had this big revival. There's a lot of people that saw that and were like, oh shit, yeah. And even with like Dark Knight Returns. Dark Knight Returns at the time was like, yeah, okay. But when it was written we already had like Judge Dredd and shit like that back in the day when Dark Knight Returns was written. And they go, yeah, we already know a huge mean old man. We already have that with Judge Dredd, We don't want to see that with Batman, but Batman's never truly been like that. But now you see it now and it's like, yeah, shit has changed. There has been a real big like politics have come into comics and so on and so forth. So now Dark Knight Returns is actually weirdly relevant now. because even in that, you had politics took a big stance in what happened with heroes and whatnot, like in Dark Knight Returns, where it's like, they shut down the heroes and so on and so forth, and Superman worked for Reagan and yada yada. So there's a lot of shit there that translates and resonates a lot more with who we have now, at least in the last 10 years.
Right.
So
Right.
so if our shit ends up bombing, and then 20 years from now someone picks it up and goes this guy was trying to tell us something, and I'll be like, yeah, I was, and then I'll ask if they want fries with that, and I'll put my weird little paper hat back on. But I'm in for it. It's cool. I'm in for the art, and I'm in for the fans. So wherever that ends up putting me is where I end up being, man.
Well, you're definitely getting traction. I mean, you're further than a lot of creators out there who launch their own campaigns, and they never get funded. They never get fully funded. So
Yeah.
you're ahead of the pack in that regard. Oh, jeez. So did you? I think I asked this already. Are you in the first round of funding or second round of funding?
First round.
Now, I thought in the first round that you were limited to 30 days, but you're at 41 days left.
30. It's 30 to 60.
Oh.
So you can do 2 30-day rounds or 1 60-day round. And I did 1 60-day. I actually launched this early because a lot of our art and a lot of the scenes in it. Oh, Bear's in the chat. Up and down. It relies on customers actually being part of the comic. So I wanted to actually launch us approximately 30 days early to get hopefully customers in the comic so we can draw them in and get that. That shit takes a lot of time, man. Like, someone will actually post, hey, I backed this and this, what's my thing? And then I'll reply to them, and then a week later they'll be like, oh yeah, cool. And I go, asshole, what power do you want, man? Oh, fucking fire and fire bear or whatever the fuck it was. That kind of shit. So it takes a lot of time to get that, and then I go, okay, now I need a picture of you, and then you can wait another couple weeks for them to fucking respond. So I wanted to back and give us that extra 30-day buffer almost, where people are going to be drawn in. We have that extra time where it's not ruining everyone else. They're waiting that much longer to get their book, It's actually why I pushed it back to where the I have the release date. That's the High Christina Bertocini. That's my best friend. That's Bear. That's my best friend. Anyway, she's the one who got a speaking role for her child who can't speak. But I have the release date for the comic as being June of next year. So I don't want people to be freaked out about that, because that is if we have a pandemic, and then I don't know if the next big hoax is going to be an alien invasion or some shit. I don't know what the fuck the government's going to throw at us next time. But right, if everything goes to shit between here and then, I know that at least we can release by June of next year. So I have that pushed out as the worst case scenario.
Okay.
So we're cranking it out hard.
Yeah.
So it's we kind of have it down to be one day to do a page, one day to color a page kind of thing. So,
and on a good day, it's just one whole page.
On a good day, we crank it out, because she actually draws, and the coloring actually is me. I do the flatting,
and then I turn around and do the shading and the
she
special effects and stuff.
Fixes it. She's being nice about it, but I will color it, and she'll make it not look like hammered ass. So that's really what it is. I'm so not an artist. But we're cranking it out as fast as we possibly can. Literally 12 hours at least a day, every day. This is all we do now. Yeah.
And this is all being done digitally, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think today is the closest I've had in a long time for a day off. Because even when I'm not doing art, it's something essential, like fixing a vehicle or something like that. I don't get days off. I mean, I'm either drawing or I'm drawing, or family shit, or I'm drawing.
Yeah. We this is what we do. Where I'm sitting right now, this is my day. This is a good 12 hours
Yeah.
sitting here cultivating pupa, being a lazy shit.
So how regarding progress, how much of the book would you say is written on issue 1, volume 1?
Everything is written for the first. Officially, we say there's 3 volumes. There's 3 parts. Everything is written.
Yep.
The art specifically is what we're hammering out now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So some people make movies and it's like, let's go to set and let's see what happens. And then you have other movies where it's like you have a detailed script and everything follows the script exactly. We're one of those.
I have had the framework hammered out, beginning, middle, and end, for years. I have told, like Christina, she's actually the one who I told the whole story finally beginning to end, and she fucking cried. Like,
You were moved.
she's the one. Yeah, you were moved. So I have this whole, like, I'm trying not to be spoilery, but there's so much to this story that we have written out. But because one of my favorite writers in comics specifically is Denny O'Neil. And one of the things that he said is that comics is a language between the writer and the artist. It is a dual language. So I never write a straight script. I go, this is what's going to happen. So when we have coming from this page, when you turn the page, what do you want them to see in the first panel next?
Yeah. Right?
What's the big surprise on this panel? So because of what that panel is showing, how is that person going to say it? And what needs to be said and what needs to not be said and can be said with art instead. So I write everything as far as being, this is what happens. Boom, 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 boom. Right? Unless I want it to be a specific line that I know a character has to say this line because it comes up later on, that's written down. Everything else is exactly the emotion they're feeling, what's happening, where they're at, what their deal is, what they're wearing, all that shit. I have all of that. And then depending on what's happening in that scene, we will construct that panel, we will construct that page so that the page itself actually flows, right? Like on the, it's a shitty example, but on the interior art, when Standard essentially lands,
I think it's like page 4 on the website.
So when he actually ends up landing, and like, all right, so the first line that's actually spoken in this sequence that we have on the interior art is Standard says, "Fuck, it's hot." And he's saying it to himself. He's not a fucking psychopath. He's thinking to himself. But because he is a hardware hero, and he's a nocturnal hero, right? So because so because he's out in the sun, it's super hot for him. So that's why he's sweating and so on and so forth, right? So when he ends up actually landing, he lands on a skywalk. And everyone else is a normal ass person, so they're walking and so on and so forth. So there's people walking through the skywalk. So when we have him land, I go, well, shit, there's going to be people in there. They're going to react. If you're going to have a hero land on your skywalk right above you, you know, this is like a 200-pound man is going to just land on the skywalk. So they're going to react. So we had to put in that they say, oh, shit, like, what the fuck, right? And then in the next scene, you have the reveal of being that it's kind of a gag that he lands on top of people. And he starts running across, and he totally just kind of blows them off. And he radios Lux, his partner, one of his partners. So that type of a flow is all shit that happens within the book. So if he didn't land on a skywalk, which was a mutual thing that we had written out. Initially, he was just supposed to land on another rooftop, but it was like, well, he's crossing the street because we had the city planned out. And he goes, well, he's going that direction. That's across the street from where he is. He can't land on another building. So it goes, shit. So then he lands on a skywalk then because he can't land all the way on the ground. And then what? He climbs the fucking stairs. He's in the elevator. Like, how does he get back up to the roof? He lands on a skywalk and runs over to the next roof, right? So we actually mapped out his route over to where he's going to go. So she goes skywalk. Brilliant. We're going to do a skywalk. Well, there's people in the fucking skywalk because skywalks are between two business buildings and it's a work day. So there's just people on their fucking lunch and he just ruined their lunch. So they're going to react like, what the fuck? So that's why that's in there. It's not just to throw in like everybody cusses. It's funny. No, it's literally if someone landed on me, I'd be like, what the fuck? So anyway, we have shit like that. Now, if that didn't play out that way when we actually get to that scene, that dialogue wouldn't happen. So that's how we wrote that. So everything we have written out, we know exactly what's going to happen, like exactly what's going to happen. But the wording and the dialogue specifically is once we get to that page, when we're doing that page, I actually look at which page is going to be. Is it going to be, well, if it's going to be a big reveal, I want it to happen on the next page. You want that person to turn that page and it's going to happen up here. You want that flow. You want it to keep going, right? If you blow your load on this page here, that just created a good stopping point to where now they don't have to turn the page and they can go to bed or they can go rub one out and take it back.
Jesus.
I want them to actually keep turning the page, right? So we actually, in this here, where it's the first reveal of the character Lux, when he's like, hey, how did your patrol go? I'm going after dude. At the end of this, he goes, oh, yeah, my patrol was fine. I'm just about finishing up. And he goes, like, he thinks about it like, wait a second, you're just about finishing up. Did you fuck her? Right? Like, that's what he says on this. So it reveals in that scene that Lux has a tendency to, he goes and he fights.
Spoilers.
No, it's not spoilers at all, actually. He goes and he fights supervillains. And Lux pulls tail. He's a good-looking dude, right? He pulls tail. That's his thing. So he has this, it's not spoilers at all, trust me. He has this tendency to where, like, he doesn't want to fight too awful much because he has a yeast infection. That's his power. He has this flaming intergalactic yeast infection that he has. So he tries to not fight. So he gets all kind of smooth with it, you know? And it's based on my buddy Matt, who just is a good-looking dude. He's just a fucking sexy dude. There you go. Really, Jesus Christ. So I kind of kept that in there as kind of a gag where it's like, well, if he's fighting just some shitty wannabe super woke fucking super villainess or whatever.
Yeah.
And he kind of like goes to talk his way out of it. They might wind up in bed. So that ends up being kind of one of the things that he does. So when you first see him, that's the gag that happens. So he's like, wait a second, did you fuck her? Like, that's why that page ends there. And it kind of ends like, why would he even ask that? But that's like, when you read the book, that's kind of his thing. So he's like, God damn it, stop doing that, you know?
So, so Mike, do you basically start with your, rough doodles with kind of like stick figures?
My super ridiculous Post-it fucking.
Let me zoom in on that. And so that's like a level more advanced than just plain stick figures, because at least there's some form to the body.
I'm pretty sure she actually drew that that body. The face was me.
Huh? So
the infamous.
You provide that to her, and then she fleshes it out into what you're envisioning.
Yeah.
She sends it back to you. You lay down the flats. You send it back to her. She lays down the colors and the special effects. And then who was it who does lettering?
Technically me.
Yeah, technically her. It's kind of both of us.
Yeah. We sit down together and I sit down and type it out. I do not letter by hand. We ended up finding a hobbyist who did a font, and then I'll sit there and type it out. And then do the bubbles and stuff.
She's actually really started saying that better. So, okay, so like I was saying with the with wanting to do our buddies, his vision of a comic that is kind of like a side story of ours. We found another guy who is another comic dork who created a lettering font, and we wanted to essentially help his shit as well. So we backed his thing.
Yes.
And we're using his font. So he's essentially getting credit for the font that he created in our book. It's another indie creator. We're all about essentially helping out other indie creators. So he created a font for other indie creators to use, and that's what we're using.
Yes. Because in the comics world, like, people will do it by hand, and that is technically the letterist. And there's also like special effects and background.
Yeah.
Special effects and background is me, but all the little word bubbles and stuff, it's not being written out by somebody specifically. It's somebody who created a font, and he absolutely will be credited.
Yeah.
But just, it's so hard to articulate that with comics.
And we are 100% a two-person team. There is no like, this person does this and they frisbee it over to fucking so-and-so to color it and whatnot.
It's
we
frisbee
can't
back and
that.
forth.
It's literally us. As a matter of fact, actually, what we do is I'll come up with the scene. We'll talk about the page and how, like, the different what's up?
No, he just said hail to Christina 10 minutes ago, but I just thought about it.
Oh, awesome.
And then there's a message from Christina that hasn't populated on it shows on my YouTube, but it has not yet populated in StreamYard.
Oh, what she said.
It's on the blue picture on Indiegogo, not a spoiler.
Yeah, it's on there. I have no idea what she's talking about, though.
So
one of the things that she does, though, also, and if her husband is listening, if Ryan's listening, he'll probably laugh, because she will tell a story, but she'll start in the dead center of it and then give you the center to the end. And then you're left with like, what the fuck are you talking about? Then she'll tell you the beginning finally. So, or the next day she'll even tell you.
Or she'll give you the punchline, and then the next day we'll tell you what it is.
The blue picture, I think she's talking about the page you're on right now. And which means she's probably talking about that the Did You Fuck Her is the last panel of that page.
Oh, okay.
Which is like awesome that she came in 20 minutes after me telling that story to say that shit, to totally derail what we were saying.
I thought she might have also been referencing the font of the lettering.
Probably not.
Well, either way.
So point being is so
she might have been saying that's a good
Snoots
example.
She's a really good and very reliable artist. However, she's a portrait artist, right?
Right.
In the first place, and she's a painter. She's not necessarily a comic artist, so to speak. I am a comic nerd, but also I have an education in like anatomy and shit like that. So whenever, like, I'll say, hey, I want this page to go boom, boom, boom. Like, this is how I want to see it. I want to have these many panels because it's an action scene, so you have this like fast moving. I want the eyes to dart boom, boom, boom. Right. So here's how I want everything laid out. Then she'll draw on top of that. And then I'll go through and go, well, okay, so remember this guy he's a little heavier, so he'll swing his arm a little bit like this. So you need to actually move his arm out a little bit. And I'll make these changes. Then she'll go through and do the inking over the changes I've made. So I'll edit of like, okay, so I grew up boxing, right? I used to box. I used to be a self-defense instructor, so on and so forth. So the way different characters fight, depending on their build and depending on their training, they'll move differently. So I want to have that like being a real thing in there. So like our main guy that you see there in the black and the blue, he fights a certain way. So the way they move is a certain, there's a certain dynamic to that. So I'll kind of like change it. He'll actually kind of be like this. And then with the faces, they'll actually kind of look like this. You kind of want to raise the eyebrow a little bit, tweak the mouth a little bit. And then she'll change all of that and then turn around and ink it. Then I'll color it and so on and so forth. So essentially she'll pencil initially what I say. I'll make the changes to make them match expression, dynamic movement, and anatomy. I'll change all of that myself. I'm a terrible artist, but I can at least change things. Like I know how to actually draw the shit. And then she'll ink everything, and then I'll color it, and then she'll make it look like a fucking 4-year-old didn't color it. and then when it comes to the the talkies and whatnot, the little bubbles and all that kind of shit, we'll both sit down and go, well, as an artist, how would that flow? How do these talk bubbles and thought bubbles and whatnot, where do they go to where they don't leave a massive blank bullshit on the page, you know?
So at that point, we'll go back and forth, and ultimately, he's the editor and creator of the comics, so he has the final say. So we'll go back and forth until he is happy with the presentation of the page, and I just kind of arrange it. But yeah, so we'll go back and forth until it is a page.
She says it like I'm this fucking tyrant, like looming
No.
over her shoulder.
But okay,
I'll keep
So-
changing it until he's happy, until he stops punching.
it was my fault to have the broom out.
Yeah. It's my fault because I
But
left
no,
the mop
for real.
out.
One thing that bugs me is being, and I'm going to say this lightly, being a woman, and with the era of fake feminism. I want to say specifically what I'm saying in the manner of, I have a job, I have an editor, and at the end of the day, I have to listen to that editor. I have to listen to my boss. I'm not going to just tweet out and just be like, he's sexist and fuck him. There needs to be a new respect where respect is due. And I feel like it's an injustice of all these women coming out and saying, you know, fuck this guy because he told me he doesn't like my art, when in reality, you just needed a critique. And that's not sexist in getting a critique. So what I'm saying, I might come off like a cunt in saying it. Mike's not an asshole. He's doing his job as an editor. But that's, if I'm wording what I'm saying in such a manner to give respect where respect is due. At the end of the day, he is the editor. He does have the final say, and he should. He knows comics and he knows what he's talking about. So if he chooses to have me arrange a page in a certain way, at the end of the day, it is his call, and he absolutely deserves that. So that's all I mean by that.
Yeah, it's all about doing your job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
And also, you're a long way from Texas, too, so that's a long-ass walk, so if you want to get mouthy.
Christina says the scene with Lux, it's not a spoiler that he sleeps with the character.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, that's kind of his thing. Is it like my buddy Matt that he's based on is he's married now, he's got a kid on the way, and so on and so forth.
but back in the
day, and this is a spoof on that. It isn't like back in the day, it's just like a new lady like every no. It's back in the day when he was dating around, like he's a good looking guy. He's a really good dude. So in this, like Lux is a little bit more of the like he's not a superhero. He's forced by the government to be a superhero. He's actually government property because he has that alien living in him and they can't get him out. So he's like on like perpetual house arrest.
Yeah.
So they force him to be part of the team so they can keep an eye on him. But being the fact that Matt is like, if you look at him, you'd be like, dude, that guy can kick my ass. No, he probably can, but he's super like, I don't want to fight, man. Let's just sit down and play video games. Like, let's have a couple drinks, play some video games. We'll play Mortal Kombat. We'll duke it out that way. He's just a good dude. So that's kind of like the way Lux is. He is a world-ending level superhero, but he would prefer to just chill out and just fucking
chill
like,
out,
he's
have a
forced to
drink,
be
talk
there.
shit, and just.
So when it comes to these ladies, he's like, hey, man, can't we find some other way to spend this time? So that's kind of what happens with him. But but Standard hates that because he keeps bringing the ladies back to the compound. And he's like, supervillains are not supposed to know where we live because this is their first time actually being part of the super team, right? So our hardware hero has a super secret hideout. So that's how he feels that superheroes should be. But Lux is like, yeah, let's go back to my place. I have this great place. It's huge. It's got a pool and shit. So he brings ladies back to the place. So it keeps pissing off the other hero.
Yeah.
That's all that scene is. And it's not a spoiler at all. It's very much just what their characters are. He's very much a Johnny Storm, like classic Johnny Storm, where he was just a ladies' man kind of a thing.
Or like Nightwing bringing ladies back to the Batcave to do them, and
Yeah.
Batman's just like never
Nightwing.
bring ladies back to the Batcave.
Exactly. That's very much a Nightwing versus Batman kind of a thing, where
Yeah.
Dick Grayson, man, Dick
Pulls some
Grayson
tail.
fucks. He
Yeah.
pulls tail. Yeah, and Batman,
It's like you can tell people your
Kinda
secret identity
does, I
all
don't
day,
know.
just not in the Batcave. Batcave is sacred.
yeah. Batman fucks, but he's reluctant about it. He fucks on his terms.
Oh my gosh. All right.
Anyway, back to issues.
Let's actually we should probably start wrapping things up.
Oh,
We're already going on 3 hours.
we tend to do that. We just
I'm
bring
sorry.
brands. I apologize.
Sorry, we do that.
Time flies.
Yeah.
And, let's see. So, do me a favor and let me know. Share with the audience how they can find you guys on social media.
Okay, so we are first and foremost on Facebook as War Dance Comics. You can also find us on Indiegogo by searching issues, War Dance Comics, any of that kind of stuff. We are on Twitter as War_Dance Comics. We are on Instagram as War Dance Comics. And like I said, you can find us on Facebook or Indiegogo. If you message us on Facebook, we will readily get to you. Mike is on standby at pretty much all times. So yeah, any of our social medias, we link them back to each other. Did I miss anything?
No, it's that's exactly right. It's very much a like we both sit essentially at a computer all day. So I always have a tab pulled up for at least the Facebook. WyzGyz is on our Twitter. He does a good job. Bear, who's listening right now, she does a great job as far as the Instagram. So get a hold of any of us. It all goes back to me essentially. I have the final say in what's happening with all that. So if you have any questions,
If you're
let me
offended
know.
by our Twitter,
if you're ever offended by our Twitter,
come let us know.
that is fucking WyzGyz. He does that. We've known him forever. He's a good dude. He pisses us off too. I'm sorry. Sometimes people suck. So no, he's a good dude though. If you listen to our podcast on War Dance Comics on YouTube, it's a Black Clay
We have
podcast. We have the one thing up. You'll see what I'm talking about WyzGyz. He's a good dude, but he'll say some shit, and it's like, well, just fucking grow up here, man. He's a good dude. He doesn't mean anything bad. Also, I actually want to add, since we have this here, Bear is listening right now with her son and her husband, Ryan, but her son, Moose. I just like to say, quick shout out. Hi, Moose. Love you, buddy. Be good for your parents. He's a good kid. I love him to death. So his mom is my like legit best friend.
Sweet.
So she's in there. She'll be in the comic as well. So if you see anyone who is like a human spliced with a red panda who talks a bunch of shit and likes
bakes.
food
Yeah.
and is overpowered, that is her. And if you see any little child that morphs into a giant overpowered moose character, that is her son. But that's also a great example. That's the kind of shit that I want to do for people and their kids, not just my friends or anything like that. Like, I really want to do that and create this new universe of, comic fans and comic skaters and people who are just tired of, oh, he said, hi, uncle. Hi, buddy. He's a good dude, man. I love kids. So, and again, if you have kids that like comics or whatever, get on that tier, man. It's the one tier we have, and I promise I will absolutely hook you up with that. I will hook your kid up with that. They will absolutely remember it. Trust me. You'll probably cry. You'll probably cry with what I'm gonna do. Yeah.
Right on. All right.
So thank you for having us on.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thank you for putting up with 3 hours of our bullshit. Jesus God, you are a saint, dude. This guy.
A lot of my streams end up being at least 2 hours. Sometimes they go longer.
Well, we were watching your last one. The fact that you were like, because you were messaging us, hey, sorry, I'm kind of running late. I'm like, dude, let him know. Totally take your time. It's Graham Nolan, man. How many opportunities do you have to just sit there and bullshit with Graham Nolan? You know,
Yeah.
I was like, dude, do it. If he needs to cancel, fucking cancel.
He's
So
pretty-
like, turn around and put in 3 hours with us. Like, who the fuck are we? That was Graham Nolan. Call him back. Get him back. Oh,
Yeah,
that's really cool though, man.
I'd love to have him on again, but he had to go because it was dinner time and the
Yeah.
food was ready, and I can't keep a man away from food because I love food too.
For real.
So you can find me on Twitter at WyzGyz Tweets, on Twitch at WyzGyz Twitches, on YouTube at WyzGyz Entertainment. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Mark the bell for notifications. Be sure and indicate that you want all notifications to increase your chances of hearing about any new videos or streams. And I want to give thanks and a big old shout out to everyone in chat. Thanks all for joining us. Thanks for everyone who watches this on replay. Thank you to our very special guests, Mike and Snoots. Book looks cool. I got to go over the tiers again and figure out what I want. But it looks pretty awesome. I love your dedication to customer service. And you can feel the passion boiling over.
If you have like an idea or anything specific where it's like, hey man, I would like to back like a speaking thing or anything like that. If you have an idea that isn't specifically on there, message me before you back anything, and I can definitely hook you up with that. Because you had us on, you're helping us fucking push this thing. You know, let us hook you up, man.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I'll try and think of something. But what you guys have on the campaign is pretty thorough as it is. But if I somehow come up with something,
that's my debilitating OCD happening there.
Well, I'm just concerned. I mean, you guys are trying to knock this out. You got all these pages to do. Yet at the same time, you're ultimately going to have to factor in all these custom characters who will inevitably back all these different tiers. So you got all those considerations. But I think, thankfully, you guys are working digital, so it's easier to move panels to accommodate that kind of customization.
I don't think we could have ever done this if it was traditional. Yeah, digital had to be the way to go. Even if I wanted to do we'll have the traditional shit, and at the end we'll show all the original art and whatnot. We couldn't do it.
In the beginning, we wanted to do traditional.
This level of put your ass in the comic. We couldn't do that if it was traditional.
Yeah. In the beginning, we wanted to do traditional, and then I was showing him various things I was doing on the computer. I'd do all these hotkeys and stuff, and he's just like, witchcraft, what the hell are you doing?
It's so much.
It's so complex.
Much easier. Like the one thing we're really losing is people wanting to buy like original art.
Yeah, that was my question.
Like original pieces, but in all honesty,
but we're doing the original sketches, so we're trying to cover all those bases.
We're doing the original art as cheap as we possibly can because we know that we're losing out on doing original pages and whatnot, and people getting that later on once we're actually if we ever do get big, people are going to want that. And it's well, that kind of sucks, but in all honesty, you may have the couple hundreds of dollars to be able to do that, but these other little guys who don't, I want to be able to cater to them too. So I'm really looking out for the little guy with this. Yeah. So that's kind of why we made the decisions that we did.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Putting yourself in other people's shoes.
Yeah.
Right.
Staying grounded. I mean, that's the way to do it. So, yeah. Awesome stuff. All right. So we are going to call it a night. We hit nearly 3 hours, 19 minutes. So that was a blast. So thanks for your time and for going through the whole campaign with us. That was awesome. We are ending the broadcast in 3,